Mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to go to the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, May 13th. Happy Monday to everybody. How's everybody feeling today? Everybody's good? Lloyd, how's your personality? Great?
I'm sad. Hopefully Dad can cheer me up.
Well, we're going to have some conversation. Oh, there you go.
There
Dad.
you go. Dad?
Maybe Dad can cheer you up.
I did just go straight to the thing.
Yeah, he did. We'll have a lot of conversation today on obviously LSU baseball. We talked about what they needed to do in the upcoming weeks after the A&M game. This weekend was not what we said. They lost 2 out of 3 against Alabama. They didn't play bad baseball. They just didn't make.
I was wrong. They didn't sweep. Damn it.
You were wrong, and we were all wrong.
We all
said 2 out of 3. I think 2 out of 3 should have happened. I think, though, like we said, had they won that first game, they probably would have, and then won the second game like they did. The Sunday game was felt like it was going to be, all the momentum would have been them. Well, that's not the case. They had all the momentum. They played really good baseball. They did everything that you want them to do in a Friday night game, except win, right? They increased their lead. They were able to add insurance runs. They were able to put you in a situation where you're up 4 going into the 8th inning, and you thought that you were in a good spot, and then all of a sudden they chipped away, and then you had a chance at the end to make the play to win the game, and it goes the opposite direction. And sometimes that's just the way happens in baseball. It was avoidable. Definitely was avoidable. But they lose that first game, do a really good job of coming back the next day and winning, right? And then on Sunday, they run it, and we talked about it. Jay specifically mentioned, hey, Ben Hess is their ace. He has ace stuff. He just hasn't had the ace numbers this year. If he figures it out, his every ability, every chance, or he has all of the ability to go out there on Sunday and feel good and figure it out and throw an ace game. And that's what he did. And LSU did a really good job of chipping away. They had an opportunity there in the 8th inning to tie the game, came up short, lose that game by 1 run, and end up losing the series best 2 out of 3. We're going to talk about their chances. Obviously, moving forward, they're on thin ice. Like very thin ice.
Double secret probation.
Yep, they don't make sure you're careful on where you go on the lake. Because if not, you may go right in the middle of it. We're going to talk about what we think they can do, how they do it, and it's not impossible. It's just going to be very difficult.
Start doing your homework. Quit relying on the test.
There you go. And then, in better LSU news, Paul Skenes made his Major League debut on Saturday. The crowd looked electric. Like, they hadn't had a crowd like that in Pittsburgh in a really long time. He threw really well. He, Jared had talked about a little bit before his debut on Friday that he feels like maybe the Pirates, depending on how long they allow him to go, 85 pitches. He came out with runners on first and second, I believe. No outs in the 5th. They were winning at the time, so it would have been nice to see him get through 5 to have the opportunity to win the game. It didn't matter anyway because the Pirates ended up giving the lead back, but they ended up winning ultimately at the end. 4 innings, 7 strikeouts. Looked really good. Threw a bunch of pitches over 100 miles an hour. You could tell he was a little juiced. He had his fastball. When you're juiced up like that and you're amped up, your fastball commands the first thing that kind of goes, right? And he wasn't as pinpoint as he normally is. His breaking stuff was really good, and his splinker. They're making with the pitch trackers and TrackMan, all that kind of stuff. They see the spin and how it comes out of the hand. So now they are renaming pitches, right? And Paul Skenes has a pitch that they have named the splinker, which is a sinker or a splitter and a sinker mixed. What does that mean? That means he grips it like a 2-seamer. He throws it like a 2-seamer, but at the end of it, instead of actually throwing it, he pronates, and instead of it just sinking, it's a splitter. So it's filthy, and it's 95 miles an hour. It's filthy. So a lot of guys are throwing it. There's a closer for, is it the Braves? Who's Duran the closer for?
Twins.
The Twins.
Other team in blue and red.
The other team in blue and red, yeah. He throws 102 miles an hour, but he's also got a 99-mile-an-hour splitter. Or splinker. Whatever you want to call it.
You missed it.
But Paul looks really good. Great debut. Obviously, he is the crowd's been waiting for him. They had all the mustaches. He is a guy who Major League Baseball can promote. And it seems like they are trying to do that. He's a guy that, and Jeff Passan said it, I guess it was today on the McAfee show. He said there hasn't been a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball in a long time that people tune in to watch, right? You tune in to watch Ohtani on the mound, but it's because he does both, right? He can hit, he can pitch, he can do the whole deal. I would say, like, probably Strasburg, when Strasburg was his rookie sophomore year, that you would tune in to watch him pitch a start?
The last, let's be honest. Before the run of injuries kept hitting, it was DeGrom. Like, you wanted to watch DeGrom every time he threw because it was starting to get ridiculous.
No doubt.
And then it kept running into, well, he just can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
So that, like,
no doubt.
shut that down a little bit.
No doubt. I just think that, as far as DeGrom came up and did whatever, and he was awesome. He's elite before the injuries kept happening. I guess the promoting of the player coming up, like DeGrom didn't have that until
There's been a debut that's hyped.
Right, yeah. And so
I just meant as far as for while you're in the league.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because he was in New York. I mean, there was every reason for it, right? Like, you're in New York. It's a huge mecca of
Max
a whole bunch
Scherzer,
of
DeGrom, Francisco Lindor.
just couldn't stay healthy.
Right. But that is good for Pittsburgh. That's good for the league. That's good for us because it's going to be more talked about. Obviously, LSU is going to come up in conversation a lot. Talk about Paul Skenes and the type of person he is, not just a player. All fun stuff. Going to be really fun to watch him continue to dominate. There's 3 guys in that rotation now that are elite. Puts them in a position where if they all can figure it out and they can start pitching and winning, maybe Pittsburgh starts to go on this little bit of a run and makes it as a wild card team in the playoffs, and you get to watch Paul Skenes pitch in postseason baseball, which would be awesome.
Okay,
I don't know if it'll be this year, but with those 3 guys they have at the top, if they stay healthy and like throw well, man, that's possibly 3 games in a row. It's tough to beat them.
No doubt.
You don't have to do much on offense
That's
to beat them.
Elite guys.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Obviously, they need to score some more runs. They've been playing better baseball. This could be a little bit of a boost that they need to continue this run. And the last thing, obviously, we're going to go back to LSU baseball. Jay Johnson is coming on live via video call at 7:40 tonight following his radio show. Obviously, we got a lot of questions for him, a lot of conversation. He enjoys talking baseball with us, so we're going to talk baseball. We're going to talk some of the decisions he made. Why did he make them? Why maybe did he think about doing something different? If you can go back and replay the game, which you can't, right? Hindsight's is easy to look back and say, oh, I should have done this, could have done that. Is there something he wished he would have done differently than he did? I don't know. We'll ask him. He'll be on at 7:40. But before we ask him that, we can ask ourselves amongst thieves here.
That's right.
We can talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and I'm gonna let our SEC network expert,
who was
SEC expert.
He obviously had the real SEC feed because he was calling his shot on
Oh,
Friday.
listen, I had to stop. I had to put my phone down.
Me too.
I was like, I can't.
Ruining this experience for me.
And then it's like, then he text. I'm like, wait a minute, is this good or bad?
And he said,
what
bad,
happened? Because I don't know because I
face.
didn't look at it.
And then nobody responded. Goes, sad face, boys, sad face. Like, get this thing out of my hand.
Hey, listen. Networking the bandwidth is fast there.
Yeah. The Mahtook household was a little behind. I was probably 3 pitches behind Jared.
Oh, me too.
And I kept trying to fast forward it, and it wouldn't fast forward. It said live. I was like, fuck.
Our guy's taking the feed from another feed
Yeah.
plugging them in. He's doing his best.
doubt.
It's not
No doubt.
SEC HQ over there.
No
I was like, and he knew he was doing it.
No doubt.
It was just,
poking out his
unbelievable.
chest, sitting
Yeah.
on his high horse over there. It's
Smoking cigars, not working.
Unbelievable.
I was enjoying watching the production go, man. I ain't gonna lie, it was good.
Yeah.
All right, well, since you had all that production, you got to see all the games.
Yeah.
You got
specifically
TrackMan
the
in
LSU
there.
game. You had TrackMan. You had all the
Now y'all lying, but
You had all the stuff. You had a direct line to the coach, the pitch comp, so you knew what pitch was happening before. Unbelievable. That's what they're doing in the SEC.
Good for you.
I had the Buffalo Wild Wings button. I had it all.
Oh,
Push
listen,
it.
Listen, you should have pushed it on Sunday. Watching LSU, what did you like? And what are some things that kind of made you raise your eyebrows and say, well, I wish we'd have done something a little differently, or why did we do it that way?
I talked about this series a couple of weeks ago, and I said it straight up. I was like, if anybody remembers, or if anybody was listening, or if anybody gave a damn, I was like, man, don't get me wrong, this A&M series is huge, and they need every bit of it. But the way A&M's been playing, what LSU needs, like, it's the perfect match of them to go in there and kind of shock the world. What I don't like is who they have to finish it off, because you're pretty much going to be at 2 teams that's just as desperate as they've been, or as LSU's been, right? And that's exactly what you ran into. Like, I've said it all season, this Alabama team's a good team. And LSU went in there, and honestly, they played good baseball. But for me, it was hard, and I hate to say it, but I when Friday night was done, I no longer had a good feeling about the weekend, the rest of the weekend, because what they did Friday night has been their recipe, not even just through the back half of the SEC, but the recipe for getting wins this season for the most part, where you have a damn good start by your starter. You're able to bring in the next guy, which they almost went. They didn't even have to go straight. They had such a lead, they didn't even have to go straight to Griffin Herring.
They tried not to.
They tried not to go to Griffin Herring. And then you went to Griffin Herring with what? At the time, it was only a 2-run lead. But you went into the 8th with a 4-run lead. And you hadn't even – I don't know if they had gotten him hot yet, but he wasn't he wasn't up yet. If I had to guess.
Yeah, because he got
Right?
hot in the previous inning because we were all kind of like monitoring the bullpen.
Yeah,
and
we
going,
said don't put him
Right.
in.
So,
Yeah.
and that's what we talked about too. So it's like that's been the recipe, right? And they had that, and they still found a way to not win that game. So for me, I was like, I don't have a good feeling about the rest of the weekend. This is from the fan perspective too. This is from the outside looking in. I'm sure they don't feel that way, and they shouldn't have felt that way. But I think that gave me, to me, was a little precursor of what people don't understand and how tight this thing is when it comes from the top of the league to the bottom of the league, and the consistency at what you have to do to be able to be quote unquote good in this league and or quote unquote bad, right?
Yeah.
This is how you saw a Ole Miss team, what was it, 2 years ago, look terrible through 90% of the season. Back their way into the tournament, back their way into the playoff, into the NCAA tournament, and win a national championship.
Yep.
Because they started doing the right things, more consistent at the perfect time, right? They didn't do it all year. They didn't look like a championship team all year, and they finally figured out how to do it, when to do it, and it couldn't have mattered anymore, right? That's what – I'm not saying that LSU's that team yet. Like, no one could have said Ole Miss was that team yet. But where they're at right now, that's where it's hard, man. Like, that's – when you look at the conference, that's the difference between good team, bad team.
Right.
It's not some big talent gap. It's not because you got one ace that's so great. Does it help you? Yeah. But the margin of error is so small in this league. And when I watched them, that's kind of how I felt. And you're going to have a good weekend this weekend. And from here, like, you got to really start turning it on and putting it on. And honestly, hoping that you get some help to be able to move forward in this thing.
No doubt. I'm glad you said that, right? Like, and I want to get into this SEC, what it looks like right now. There's a lot that I want to chime in on because what you said is spot on, right? Like, the margin of victory or the margin of error in the SEC is like this, right? Like, you're going to go look at LSU, who's 10-17 in conference, and you're going to go look at Arkansas, who's 19-8 in the top of the West, and Kentucky's 20-7 top of the whole SEC, right? And you go back to LSU's schedule, and you're like, okay, Friday at Alabama, that easily could have gone the other way. Should have probably gone the other way. Sunday at Bama was a coin toss. Did make the one play. They get the one big hit to tie the game, right? Florida games, 2 of them, right? You felt like you probably could have won. Arkansas, let's just give you one just to be conservative, but there's probably 2 games against Arkansas that you felt like that you should have won. You're up late in the game. Missouri, the second game at Missouri that you got beat. I know you're down by a lot, came all the way back, but had opportunities. I'm trying to think. Vanderbilt had a game there.
Game 3 at A&M. Like, you were up.
Game 3 at A&M. So that
into it.
let's say there's 8 games, right? And you can say this to everybody, but this is the point of it being such a small margin of error. Those 8 games. If LSU just goes 500 in those 8 games, LSU is 14-13 in conference with a host site. Instead, they're 10-17. And they're fighting for their postseason lives. I think it's not a guarantee. They haven't clinched yet that they're going to make the SEC tournament, but it's more probable than not that they will make the SEC tournament, right? But here's where the stats lie. Arkansas, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia, right? Those 5 teams guaranteed winning record in conference. Right? That's 5 teams right now going into the last weekend of the season. Those are the only 5 teams that are guaranteed a winning record in the SEC. There's 14 total teams. Okay? Mississippi State's 15-12. Let's go ahead and give them 1 win. So 6 teams that are for sure probably going to be over 500. Then you got South Carolina at 13-14, Vanderbilt at 12-15, Florida at 11-16, Missouri at 8-19. Alabama at 12-15, Ole Miss at 11-16, LSU at 10-17, Auburn at 6-21, right? So you have a couple other teams that have the opportunity, maybe based off the weekend, to get over 500 or get at 500. All that tells me is the SEC 1 is extremely tough, right? And it tells me that, hey, they're going to have more than 6 teams in conference, in the postseason play at large bids, right? So, I think they've had as much as 10 maybe last year.
Last year was 10.
Last year they had 10 teams in there.
Most ever.
Most ever in the SEC. I feel like it's only gotten better. In NCAA history.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? And I would imagine that this year they look at these teams like, oh yeah, they're beating up on each other. Like there's a lot of really good teams in the SEC. We're going to have at least 10. So that means LSU has got to get to at least 10th in conference play as far as record, like where they stand as far as competition goes. So that leaves LSU with 3 games against Ole Miss, who is 1 game ahead of LSU in the conference standings, which puts them at 11th, right? Ole Miss is 11th. Actually, they're probably tied with Florida for 11th, right, overall. If LSU is able to pull off a sweep, which Ole Miss won 2 out of 3 last weekend, did they not, against A&M, right, on the road?
No,
at home. At home. So they take 2 out of 3 from A&M, puts them at 11-16. LSU beats them. Let's say they take all 3. LSU's 13-17. Ole Miss is 11-19. Ole Miss is out. LSU's probably a lock for regional. It's hard to say lock, but it feels like you sweep this team and you go and maybe you win a game. They're gonna get in that large bid.
I feel like there's a chance that if it was 10 last year, I think there's even a little bit, probably still less than 50%, but there's probably a little bit more of a chance than what's normal to get to that 11th team into the tournament.
Right.
Like softball this year got every single team in the conference in the tournament.
Right.
So I can only imagine that trend kind of being applied to men's baseball as well.
Right.
So we'll see. It can still be 10, but I can feel that being possible.
Instead of it saying, hey, let's sit on the edge of our seat, let's just say 10 for comfortability's sake. Hey, we've seen 10 get in there. Do I think 11? No doubt. 10, you have to get to be the 10th team in the SEC. You're playing against Ole Miss, who was kind of left for dead. Again, they've kind of made a little bit of a run. Ole Miss is 27-24 overall, and they've kind of made this last little bit of run at the end of the year, right, end of the SEC year. You take the series from Ole Miss. You are now 12-18. They're also 12-18. You on the tiebreaker and a better record. You are going to be the bigger team. You're going to get into the tournament. Both of y'all will, but you will be the 11th seed in the tournament. For me, I think that if you get to 13-17, based off of the other records, I don't even know what the schedules are like. I think that you have a really, really good chance of getting into postseason play as an at-large bid, regardless of what happens in the SEC tournament. I think winning a game in the SEC tournament obviously is going to help you. But based off of last year, based off of the records I see, Florida's got to win the series to get to 13 wins this last weekend. Vanderbilt just got their ass kicked by Tennessee this weekend.
You know where they're going next weekend?
Where?
Kentucky.
And they're going to Kentucky, right? Kentucky's 20-7. They're trying to say, hey, we are real. I think they've proven that. And they're going out there and say, okay, we're going to finish off. They're going for an outright SEC title. First time since 2006 that they won it, right? And so that Florida has a tough test. So now they have to go and play the number 1 team in the SEC, probably the number 1 team in the country.
2.
Who's number 1 right now?
Tennessee.
Kentucky, yeah. So I guess you can't really drop Tennessee after Tennessee just beat Vanderbilt. But Kentucky beat them head-to-head. So
Tennessee beat them head-to-head.
I thought Kentucky. Oh, no, you're right.
At Kentucky.
You're right. Tennessee did. So number 2 team in the country is playing Florida. Florida's fighting for their lives. They're almost 500. They're 26-25. Let's say Florida doesn't win that. They lose that series, very likely, right? That means they are 12-18. You don't want to be in that position of being 12-18 with Florida and losing that head-to-head matchup if there's going to be an 11th team in conference play. But that's not the argument. The argument is, where do we need to get to? Vanderbilt, if you can beat Florida, have a better record than Florida, have a better record than Ole Miss, have a better record than Auburn, have a better record than Missouri, that puts you at 10th in the SEC. 10th in the standings in the SEC with a pretty good overall record. I think that's a pretty good spot to be in. But LSU shouldn't be in this position. And to flip it back to the game, you talked about the margin of victory or margin of error. I think that they played really good baseball in all 3 games. I really do. Right? There was a couple things here and there that could have gone differently that would have saved. If you look at the end of the game, probably would have helped. Saved, limit some damage and saved a run. or two. But overall, they played really well. Friday, you had, like you said, great start by Gage. You had an offense that –
which was kind of what we talked about, because we talked about, hey, I'm not expecting him to go 7 with 10,
right,
with 1 walk. Like, it's a good lineup he's facing. He's going to have to gut it out, and he did.
And he did.
He did that.
And he competed, and he did the things he needed to do, and he kept LSU in a position
Left
to
the
win.
game leading.
Left the game leading. And what did LSU do after he left? Increase their leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I believe it was a 5-3 game. Or it was a 4-3 game going into the 8th. Milam goes backside homer.
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm.
He makes it 5-3. LSU then adds 2 more runs. This is the 8th inning now. To make it 7-3, up by 4. What did we say? Oh, where wins Griffin Herring? We think, hey, if you're up by 4 in the 8th inning, you don't throw Griffin Herring. Sure enough, Christian Little comes out. He came in the 7th.
Yeah.
Christian Little pitched himself out of a disaster.
Was it though? What did he have? The one he came in.
That was the Sunday game.
That was Sunday,
I believe. Because
Okay.
Saturday he pitched himself in a jam, bases loaded, then pitched himself out of it, and then you felt like, and then they put up the runs right to make it a 4-run lead, and they sent him back out there. He gives up a backside 2-run homer to their center fielder, which that's a whole nother conversation. That ball was not hit very well. I don't think that was a home run. Should have been a home run.
Oh, it was definitely a home run.
It was definitely a home run.
But the ball coming off the bat the way it did, at the exit view that it did, that ball shouldn't go as far as it did, right? And that's a whole different conversation. But he gives up those 2 runs. He makes it a 2-run game. They bring in Griffin Herring, and then there was a little bit of a miscommunication. No, that was in the 9th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
What are you talking?
That was in the 8th inning. The Paxton Kling.
Yeah, it was in the 8th.
That was the 8th inning. That was when Griffin Herring was pitching, right? So Griffin Herring comes in after the homer, no outs. That's right, no outs. This guy hits a ball to the outfield, to basically the center field. They had a shift on. Somehow it falls. Now you got a guy on base. He gets to second base on a wild pitch. Griffin Herring makes a great pitch. The guy gets jammed, bloops it in there. Baseball. Unfortunate that they had a guy on base, ends up scoring. Now it's a 1-run lead going into the 9th inning. You feel like Alabama had all the momentum. Then Griffin Herring goes out, punchy. Oh, boy, here he goes. This is the Griffin Herring we've seen all year. Then he kind of loses it. Walk, hit batter. And now it's bases loaded.
2 outs.
2 outs with that Hammeter kid up, who's a lefty-lefty. 2-2 pitch, throws a breaking ball. Guy caps it. Palazzo does what he's supposed to do. I got it. Maybe the ball,
Well, she top spin.
Had a little further than he thought. Had to feel like he had to get there a little quicker, and then kind of threw it on the run with a little bit of a lawn dart, and throws the ball away. We lose the game. There's probably 3 plays in that sequence of events that, not counting the last play, obviously, right? Like not counting the one play that would have been the out that he wouldn't have scored. Like that's obvious. Outside of that play, there was probably 2 specific plays that we can look at and say, okay, had this play been made, that if you asked, it probably should be made. Had that been made, it wouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
It was Christian Little that was for that fly ball to center. That was, I don't think it was his last.
Was
Might
it
have
really?
been his second to last. Yeah, I just watched it.
Okay.
But that was at the trail end of what was to come.
So Christian Little, then they took him out with a guy on base, and then he threw the pass ball, and then the bloop single. That's what it was. But to the point, like that doesn't happen. That's one less run that scores, right? It's just those little types of things. But they played good baseball. The bullpen threw really well. Stars threw really well. Offense did a little bit better. It was just they got beat.
Yeah, I think when I go back and I look at that Friday night game, because that's the game that to me kind of turned the tide, even though they went out there and won on Saturday. And it's no slight to the kid, because what he did last weekend was super heroic, and it was pretty impressive to watch him put himself in that position and throw as well as he did last weekend. But it felt like watching him once he got out of that jam in the 7th, or even towards the end of that jam in the 7th, that he just didn't have the same stuff that he had last weekend. And guess what? That's okay. If I watch my starter who's going 7 all year, and all of a sudden in the 4th and 5th I could see him kind of struggling and reeling, there's probably a good chance he won't make it to the 7th that day. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So this is no slight to Christian Little. I just wonder what the thought process was, and I don't have the bullpen paper and who's available and what they've thrown in the last time they've thrown in front of me. So that's not – I don't have that. But I felt like we left him out there a little too long, hoping to not have to get to Griffin, right? And that I think is the right thought, but maybe there should have been someone else who we could have put in there and say, hey, I just need 2 outs from you.
Yeah.
I need 1 out from you. Just please go get this one for me. Instead of trying to extend Christian past where it felt like he wasn't there. He didn't have it that much of it that day. And the only reason I say this is because when you watched him at the end of the 7th, when you watched him beginning of the 8th, it was arm side high miss, arm side high miss. And that wasn't where, when you watched him throw last week, and when you watched him come out, that wasn't where he was.
Right.
So it's like if maybe we could have gotten away from him a little bit quicker, and if you could have done that, and you obviously still had the plan to bring him back, or he was available, I guess you can say that on Sunday because he came in through on Sunday. It's like, all right, let's get him out where he's at a good spot and he's battled, and we appreciate the battling, but we need this win. And we didn't do that. We didn't make that decision. We couldn't make the plays after it, and it cost us and it hurt him.
Right. And so that was my next question, right? If there's things that you could have done differently, that was one of them, right? Maybe take him out earlier, just put Griffin and say we got to win this one, potentially. For me, and we talked about it, right? The lineup, right? You just beat the number 1 team in the country the weekend before against a lefty-righty combination in the rotation, and you had a certain lineup set. And this weekend, the lineup was different. That kind of raised our eyebrows. Why? What do you feel on that?
Yeah, I just don't. Like I said, they have all the advanced stats. They have all the advanced metrics. They're doing all the work behind the scenes. I'm on the outside looking inward. On the outside looking inward, when I had the number 1 team in the country coming to my house and we play them and they gave us the probable starters, and the probable starters were lefty, righty, and I wrote out this lineup and I put them out there and we beat them 2 out of 3 and really was in a spot to beat them 3 out of 3, I don't really understand, and that's where I would like clarity as to why the decision was made. Because when you go back the very next week, 7 days later, and you face the probable starters of lefty, righty, we never once used that same lineup. So for me, that's where I'm like, I didn't understand that one. And I would like to understand that one. So, like, that's another thing, like you said, that's the number 2 thing. I'm like, that was a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, it's just, like you said, we're not in the locker room and we're not in the clubhouse all the time, and we don't know what's being said or what's being done or how practice is being, how people are performing in practice or whatever they're doing. So there's more to these decisions than just, okay, this is what we did, we're going to do that. Now, I don't know if anything like that happened or if Jay said, this is what I feel in my gut and we're going to go that route. But that was very questionable to me. I don't know. It was just something that I wasn't expecting. I thought they had finally found that lineup that they wanted. And it just didn't happen. Lloyd, what did you see from this weekend?
Oh, no, that's what I would agree with you there, is because you saw what they did against A&M with that lineup, and it felt like, to me, and I think everybody here, that it was finally you'd settled in on some continuity offensively where you knew everybody – we talked about it whenever they found it. Like, all right, these are the guys who are going to play. This is where I'm going to put them in the lineup, roll the ball out. You don't even have to check you don't have to check the card anymore. And then you go into a weekend, and like y'all said, I don't know what information he has that we don't, and I trust him because he's the head baseball coach.
Right.
And
he has way more information.
Way more
information.
No, he ain't just going lefty, righty. This is what we do. And so I'm also trusting the guy that put Cade Beloso to lead off in Game 3 of the College World Series. Like, sometimes he does things that you're like, oh, I wouldn't have done that, and he does, and it works. So I don't think you can really, as odd as it was, LSU scored enough to be able to win the game, and they pitched well enough to be able to win the game. They just didn't. And that's the thing where you can say it's just baseball, and I wouldn't even say they got outplayed. Like, they didn't lose. They gave that game away.
Yeah.
Whenever you have, and that sets you up for kind of the rest of the weekend. I couldn't have been more impressed if they came back and played well on Saturday, because you could have been down and out. So that's the positive if you want to take one away from it.
And I'll say this. We're watching Sunday. Well, we're all watching separately, but we're texting about it.
Jared's a time traveler.
Yeah, that's right. And we were talking about, at least I was in the text, I said, wow, doesn't look great right now. And this was, hey, this guy is dominating. This is our worst fears. This guy's going to throw as good as he's capable of throwing. And we're going to get down early, which we did. It was 4-1 or 4-0 for a really long time. And I was like, man, this just doesn't feel like the times we had opportunities. It wasn't like LSU was putting bad at bats. They were lining out or they're doing these things that were just not good enough, but like good swings, just not enough, right? We're getting outs. So I was like, damn, this just feels like this is going to get away. Similar to the other Sundays where you start pressing, all of a sudden something happens, walk, and then you look up and it's a 2-run roll. That did not happen. Instead, LSU righted the ship. Ulloa threw great, right? Didn't he throw on? He was him on throw on Sunday, right? Threw great, kind of steadied the game for a while. LSU was able to continue to put some good at bats together. I think they scored 1 run off of Ben Hess, and then he gets taken out the game, and they scored 2 more in the 8th inning with a chance to tie the game. And to me, that shows a lot. I know there's not moral victories in this part of the season because they got to get wins. But if there's anything that you can hang our hat on as far as positives goes, that. I wish that would have happened in the 3rd week of the season, not the second to last week of the season. But, you know, if you want to look at something and have a little spin zone, that's it. LSU's not out of the postseason yet, right?
No, I mean, like, they're in the tournament. Like, outside of them getting swept and Missouri sweeping whoever they're playing, they're going to be in the tournament.
Which tournament?
SEC tournament, which means that is now the postseason because you could easily not be in it. You'd be 1-2-3 summer ball, right? So you're going to make it
1,
there.
1, 2, 3 Yamaha.
You're going to make it there. Now it's, can you start putting together wins and putting yourself in an opportunity to get a bid on the next Sunday? Because that's really what it comes down to at this point. So it's, I won't say dude, like it's not 100% chance. I don't see the combination of LSU getting swept and Missouri sweeping for them to now leave and not be in the conference tournament. So it's not 100%, but to me, like, this is going to happen. They'll be there. Now it's, you need to, and I know they've already done it too, like, but this needs to be, this is a for sure. There's no more, I don't know if we'll make it or we need to, you're in this part.
Yeah.
This is now tournament ball. We can go ahead and refocus again. Tournament. We can go refocus again. Thursday night starts tournament ball for us because truthfully, every loss is
double elimination.
Yeah, it's pretty much this simple. You're out.
Yeah,
you're over.
Yep,
it's done.
It is the every game from here on is a rubber match of a Sunday series of a super regional. Every Sunday, right? You win it, you move on. You lose it, you go home. Right? There's no let's wait till the next day. 3rd game rubber match of a super regional, and so with it being that, and with the only thing, listen, you can talk about what happened over the last weekend all you want. It had nothing to do with them not being capable of not playing well. Had none of that. It was, hey, they had the opportunity to make the plays when they needed to, and they didn't.
I think that's the frustrating part.
Right.
Why people keep bringing
no
it up.
doubt, right? But there's you can't really analyze. Don't overanalyze what happened and what you saw outside of the fact that, hey, there's some things that maybe could have been done differently, but they had an opportunity to win the first game. They won the second game, and they had an opportunity to win Sunday game. Alabama's a good team. Alabama now is in a position to host. If they go out this weekend and they sweep, they play Auburn. Auburn's not good. If they go out and sweep Auburn, they're at 15-15 in conference with a real chance of hosting because their RPI is so high. Their RPI is probably going to be in the top 50, for sure in the top 15. I think it's almost in the top 10 right now, right? So they're a good team. It was going to be hard to sweep them anyway, but you had a real opportunity to win the second game. Didn't happen. Didn't make the plays. It wasn't because you didn't play good. It's because you didn't make that one play you needed to make, and it happens. Now,
Alabama's 11th in RPI.
11th in RPI. It's going to go down a little bit because they're playing Auburn. I don't know what Auburn's is, but, regardless, they're going to put themselves in a really good position going into the end of the season. But can't look back. Look forward. 3 games left in the regular season. 3 super regional rubber match games, like Jared said. Most important games of your life right now. Tommy White, you are a junior. You're not going to be here next year. This is maybe your last time at LSU that you've loved for the last 2 years. You got to go out there and you got to play. You got to win.
Last time in the box.
Right? Last time in the box. Senior weekend, whatever.
Bear Jones, last time in the box.
Bear Jones, probably last time in the box, right? You have to play Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a desperate team. They're 11-16. They're ahead of you in conference. They're trying to make the postseason too. They don't want to miss it 2 years in a row. So let's talk about them.
Here we are.
Ole Miss is just above 500 for the year. They have not been a good baseball team this year, but they've won the games that they needed to win to put themselves in a position to make this postseason run. They don't throw it particularly great. They don't really swing it particularly great. What the hell does that matter at this point in the season? Because
it's all about heart.
It doesn't matter.
It's all about heart. Like, they got 3 guys in the lineup who are pretty, decently scary, if you will. They've been productive all year. The rest have been erratic and kind of going. They don't have anyone that's really stepped up on the mound and been just an absolute dude for them. But they played well enough to beat A&M's brains in for 2 games last week.
Yep.
Like, they did that. So when they can do that and feel that, they come in here next weekend with the thought of, we're playing for our postseason lives too. So it can very well happen again next weekend if you don't bring that same kind of intensity to them.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say they do have a midweek game against Southern Miss on Tuesday.
Ooh,
Who's a top 25 team?
That's a big move for them.
Because I think it was
if they beat Southern Miss, Southern Miss ain't pitch. Southern Miss is waiting for the weekend, right?
Yeah,
like they don't
comfortably
care.
in.
Now, I guess it would be a big win for Southern Miss too, but they'd rather win their series this weekend. Big win for Ole Miss. Big opportunity for Ole Miss to get some RPI points against a top 25 team. Hey, look, we're playing really good baseball. And if they beat them, that's a lot of momentum coming into Alex Box.
Yep.
So kind of scary game there too.
Was that a game that was postponed and then moved into this week? Is that what?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know their schedule, but
I
mean,
feel
maybe
like
it's
they would be done with midweek games at this point, especially if you play on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not sure that answer.
Somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah,
it's something with the RPI they definitely didn't want to get rid of, though. I can tell you that. That's pretty obvious.
Right. No, that's a game that you
could have
definitely
punted on.
Yeah, if you play Southern, which they beat us, which obviously is coming back to haunt us a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But if you get to play like a team like Southern or Grambling or whoever, maybe that game's we have scheduling conflict.
Play a doubleheader next year.
Scheduling conflict. We can't play that midweek game. Well, I understand that. This one is one that you want to play, especially if you're both teams. Honestly, Southern Miss and Ole Miss it's a good. It's a good. Lloyd, can you go get the door?
Who would that be?
Our guy who's gonna help us with the studio.
Oh.
What was I saying?
It's a good matchup for both Ole Miss and
it's a good matchup for the RPIs. Now, let's get to the Ole Miss conversation. We talked about what they do, what they don't do. They have they've kind of struggled on their third starter as well as LSU, right? They have one guy who has the most starts on the team is Riley Maddox.
Yeah.
Right? 12 games started. Doesn't have unbelievable numbers. Has a 5.68 ERA, 58 and 2/3 innings pitched. Only 42 strikeouts. 282. People are hitting 282 against him, right? So that's great. As a hitter, and you see, guys are hitting 282 against him. Oh, okay. That means he's around the zone and he gives up hits. Now he's going to get in and out of trouble all game, it feels like. And it's up to us to be able to score, up to them to be able to get hits with runners in scoring position. The number 2 guy that starts is Liam Doyle. He's their power arm.
Yeah.
He's
he threw
the guy.
Really well Saturday too.
What's that?
He threw well this past Saturday.
And he's the guy that, like, hey, if he's on the mound, he's got the stuff to potentially dominate you, similar to Ben Hess. He's got 49 in the third innings pitched, 77 strikeouts. Guys are only hitting 213 against him. Now, this is my thing. As a hitter, and you can attest to this, if you're looking at all the numbers and you're like, okay, this guy's got 49 innings pitched. He's got a 5.3 ERA, not great. And you keep going down, you're like, okay, but he got 20 walks. That's kind of a lot. He's a lot of strikeouts. And guys are only hitting 213 off of him. You're like, damn, this guy's got pretty good shit. Nobody gets hits off of him. And he's got a bunch of strikeouts. He just kind of fucks it up sometimes by himself by walking guys and then maybe giving up a jam shot. Is that what you see with those numbers?
When I see a low opponent's average against, means he's probably got good stuff. So then I go back and I'll see, all right, well, let's look at innings to strikeouts. If I see more strikeouts than innings, I'm like, all right, so he has a put-away pitch. So that just means he obviously does not have very great command if the ERA is high. It means he's probably putting runners on, and however those runs are getting deposited somewhere here or there, right? And that tells you those things coupled together means, all right, this is a guy you need to be selective off of, and don't get frustrated if it's all over, black.
Right.
And then black. And then the next guy's all over, black.
Black.
Yeah, and you're just like, bro, don't get frustrated saying, like, let me try to get him early so I don't get punched out on the perfect pitch. And then now you start swinging at the first pitch breaking ball in the dirt or the fastball that's at your nipples or something. You know, just stuff like this is how it goes. So he's the guy you really have to stay disciplined on because he's going to give you an opportunity to either get on base and or have something really good to hit if you let him. If you don't, he wins because he will spray, and then do some
no doubt
Picasso type shit.
Right. So out of the 3 starters, now the third starter is kind of like us, right? Yeah. They have Grayson Saulnier's got 9 starts, right? Then you got Gunnar Dennis with 8, and then Mason Nichols at 5, right? So you have kind of like a variety of different guys based off of starts. It's probably going to be in starts and numbers. If you look at it, it's probably going to be Grayson Saulnier. He's got a 5.6 ERA, similar to Riley Maddox. Doesn't have a strikeout inning, and these guys are hitting a 321 clip off of him. No, 280 clip off of him. So same thing. You have a guy who's going to give and gives you the potential to score some runs, right?
This is all hard, dude. This weekend's all hard.
That's it.
Like, who wants it more? The opportunity's right there in front of you. Go get what's available to you.
And here's
because you're playing to put yourself in a better seeding spot.
Right.
Once you get to the SEC tournament, to actually go and make a run. Because if you go and make a run there and let's say you sweep this weekend, either team, honestly, you do that and then you go and play well and make a run, 3-4 game run in the tournament, you may back your way into a hosting spot. You may. Just depending on what happens, right? So that's what you're kind of playing for, is the opportunity to where if it's not that, you may play yourself into a 2 seed somewhere. So that's what you got the opportunity to do right now.
Right. I think now the pitching has been great over the last month. Bullpen ERA has been really good. Starters have thrown really your number 1 and your number 2 guys have thrown really well. Obviously, the third one is not even, you don't have a starter yet. So that's just an extra game that we just don't talk about. But the other ones, as far as pitching staff goes, like
it will matter
numbers,
at some point.
Absolutely, numbers are good. Offensively, you look at it as a whole, you're like, oh, they're not bad. To me, the offense has yet to win a game for the LSU, for them, and I feel like this weekend it has got to be them. Right. You saw what happens if you do well enough offensively. Hey, we're doing really well, but we're not winning it. We're just adding on, but not really having that big inning where he says, there's the kill shot. Okay? You saw that Friday, 7-3, 4-run lead in the 8th inning, and all of a sudden they chipped away. No doubt. It should definitely be enough. And there are some things but my point in saying that is don't leave it up to that. Make it to where does not come down to that. Make it to where, hey, okay, instead of a 4-run lead, here's a 7-run lead.
And they had multiple opportunities to do that.
Yeah, right. Here's the thing. When you talk about that, where I think it's missed is not so much like late in the game. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to go grab and go get the insurance late in the game. You're 100% right.
But
you haven't come out the gate and punch someone in the mouth to where you beat them into submission through 5.
Yeah.
Where you're up 9-2, to where you're up 7-1, to where you make them feel like, hey, we don't really have a chance back in this game right now.
Yeah.
You did that against Missouri. But no one's counting it against Missouri, right? Because they're not going to be in the tournament, right? Go do that against a team that you think or that everyone else sees as a tournament type of team.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we haven't seen enough of from them this year. And it doesn't matter if it's Friday night and or Sunday. Because most of the teams, when you get down to the Sunday, not that you don't have talent, but you're facing a guy and or a TBA when the weekend starts because they don't know who they're going to throw on Sunday. But still, we get to that day, and we can't just run them off the park yet. If they can find a way to start doing something like that's when I think you kind of see them get to the other side.
Yeah, no doubt, right? And like pitching and defense, that's what wins games, 100%. They've been doing that very well, right? They've been doing everything that they need on the mound consistently over the last month.
The closest they came to actually blowing out a good team was probably the Vanderbilt game in April, when they put up I'm looking at it right now,
9?
6 in the third, 6 runs in the third, 3 in the fourth, and then.
And they almost came back, didn't
they? Then they gave up 4 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and then it was a
they
9-6 ball game, and then they added 1 run in the 8th. But that's as close as it's come to LSU offense winning you a baseball game.
And look, baseball hard. These teams are good. It's hard to blow them out. I'm not saying you got to beat these teams by 10
but put up a crooked number like that later in the game, because we looked at the numbers whenever
give it to me early.
Give it
to
early.
Hell with that late.
And here's the deal: if it's going to be early, though, you've got to stay.
Then you can add run. Then you can do what you did on Friday and
Exactly.
Saturday.
Exactly right.
Because.
Put yourself in a position to say assert dominance. You are, on paper, are you better than Ole Miss? Yes. Talent-wise, if you go up and down the lineup, talent-wise, hey, are you better? Are you better? Look at the numbers. Are you better? Yes. All right, so now go prove it on the field. It doesn't matter what the stats say. It doesn't matter what the paper says. Only matters is what you're doing at that given time on the field. That's why baseball is such a crazy sport and such an awesome sport. But the teams that understand that, and the teams that are able to do that, are like, okay, they never go through these. They never go through these ups and downs or these super low downs, right? And they get out of it and they end up making these long runs.
If you were playing LSU, what would be your game plan?
Don't let the big three beat me.
That and get the starter out as soon as possible. Like, it's really not a hard blueprint to, like, that's what I imagine Alabama was doing. Like, if we can get Jump out the game, if we can get Holman out the game.
I'm not even that. Listen, it's changed over the past 3 or 4 series, but if you're not letting the big three beat you, what realistically over the course of this season so far?
Who's the big three?
Well, come on, dude. Everybody's got 15 plus homers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he won for.
I know what he hasn't done recently, but I'm just saying that's part of the big three. Like, let's be honest, he's got 15 homers. It's not someone
people are still scared of.
Yeah, like you still gonna look at him. Like, my point is outside of those big three run producers over the course of the year, you're looking at what, maybe 2-3 runs on average coming from the rest of it over the course of the year. So I'm not even that, because I feel like, hey, if I don't let them beat me. We have to score to win. We could scratch up 2-3 against this staff at some point, right? Like, that's how I would feel if I'm on the other side of it. So to me, it's literally, if I can neutralize these guys, we got a real chance at beating them. That's what over the course of the season. Now we know, because we watched them closely over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks, that's been better, and they've done a better job at producing runs. But that's what I would be thinking on the other side.
Let me ask you this. I'll ask both of y'all. You answer first, you answer second.
Oh, I hate that. I'm always wrong.
In a 56-game regular season, and you play, let's say you played 80% of the games, at least 80% of the games, what would be an RBI total that you'd be like, oh, that's okay, that's pretty good. Like, not elite, but like, okay, that seems like what you, over a 56-game regular season.
You played in 45 of them?
Where are you hitting?
No. As far as RBIs. How many RBIs?
Where are you hitting at in the lineup?
Just in the lineup.
Not in the lineup. You're probably going to look at something different coming from a 3-hole than you will a 9-hole. Can't just be in the lineup.
My point in saying all this, right? Like, I would think if you're in the lineup all year, for 80% of the year, 30 RBIs for that entirety of a season is, like, not considered a lot. It's considered, okay, you have 30 RBIs. That's a decent season.
Yeah.
LSU's got 3 guys in that area. They're all 3 in the 40s. After that, they have nobody that breaks the 30 RBI threshold. My point in saying that is, outside of the big 3,
that's exactly.
I was giving these stats to support your.
Who's fourth?
Milam, 28, and Neal's got 20. Milam's played every day.
So, and here's the thing: when you talk about that offense compared to another, which I think is a top 5 offense probably in the country, but you compare it to Georgia right now, right?
I'll tell you right now.
No, you don't have to look. Well, you can look, but I'll tell you right now, they got 2 dudes that's hitting like 270. Now, mind you, they still got like 5 dudes hitting over 300, but they got 2 dudes that's hitting 270 with 50-plus RBIs both, and 15 homers both. Like,
look here,
that's run production, bro.
So take out Condon, just take him out the lineup.
Walk him.
Guy with 59, guy with 51, guy with 49, guy with 45, guy with 39, guy with 32. That's not counting your guy with 72.
They got a guy off the bench who started maybe 30 games this year, who's hitting 380 with 9. Phelps.
He's got 32. So
that's production. That's production.
And look, Georgia has one of the better offenses in the country. You don't have to all have that, but if you're going to be in the line, my point in saying all of that is, you have the 3 guys that are driving guys in, but even those numbers are not as high as they probably should be based off of the numbers they are putting up. You stop those 3 guys, to answer your question, you stop LSU. And so you need the other guys to start stepping up and driving guys in. Larson's done that a little bit, right? Milam's gotten hot. He's played better of late. Michael Braswell has, been solid. He hasn't been like, oh, he's a game breaker, he's going to drive a bunch of guys in. But he's able to get on base. He's been getting on base a lot more frequently than he had at the start of the season. And so to me, it's all about the offense this weekend. Like, it's about asserting your dominance and say, hey, I'm this good. Watch our offense, score some runs, take some pressure off the pitching staff. Now, are they going to do it? I don't know. I mean, it's like you said, it's desperation on both teams.
This is a hard, what you got in the tank type of weekend. It really, really is. And what I mean by hard is you got to go out there and straight up just out-execute people. Like, hey, man, I don't really know if it's going to be 95 with run or if I just got to be able to place 92 and say, you're just not going to get hits off of me. I don't know if it's going to be I got to blast balls over the scoreboard, if I got to fist balls over first base or runners on first and second to just get it done. This is a out-hard, out-execute. We just need to find a way to put up more runs than you at the end of the weekend. I don't know how, I don't know where, but it's going to happen. That's how that has to be the mentality going into the weekend.
Because I think it's been proven that you're not necessarily good enough to get away with the mistakes that you've made, especially whether it be late in ball games, but you're keeping teams in games through your own performance. Mm-hmm. Like whether it be defensively or going just absolutely cold in innings where you don't sniff a pitch, and it's 12 pitches, you're back on the field. And from what I saw a lot of this weekend, and it's what Jared and Mikie have been like kind of preaching, is pitching wise, they don't pitch to contact at all. They're terrified for anybody to even like sniff a baseball. It's either strikeout or walk. And
now Holman did do that a little bit,
right? And but he's also good, and he walks some guys. But like that's what it feels like from my perspective that LSU is missing. And you saw Alabama do that, where it was so many quick innings and quick outs, because how many times you lift one in the air and get a pop up? How many times you beat one on the ground and turn a double play? It's like that's kind of what LSU is missing in my mind. They're trying to be so fine in their pitching approach that it leads to these big innings that shouldn't exist. Whenever you have,
there's not enough. Like I watch them.
You have 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth with nobody on, and you lose.
I would agree with that. Like this, to me, there's just not enough. Yeah. I'm up here, you're back there, I'm coming right at you. Like even I think about Griffin in the game where he came in and it ended up being a walk. He walked someone and it was a 3-0 count. Now I'm not really saying him. It's, to me, this was a pitch situation, but it's a 3-0 count. Who was it? Lefty. Had the lefty homered? Oh, maybe it was McCants?
No, it was before the walk. It was before the hit batter.
Whoever it was a 3-0 count, and we threw him a 3-0 breaking ball. And I'm just like, hey, bro, at some point in the game, it's got to be, nah, dog, I'm just not putting another one on. Right. And I'm coming right at you, right? Like, and I think there's not enough. To me, sometimes we get a little too cute, and there's not enough of, it's me against you, bro. Like, what's up? And chances of you hitting this thing it's just probably not going to happen. So here it is. Do what you want. Do as you may.
Right. It's hard to get a hit in baseball.
I don't see enough of that. And listen, really, honestly, if I'm being truthful, it's not just an LSU thing. There is way more 2-0, 3-1, 3-0 breaking balls and stuff, and it's not even like get me overs. Dudes are literally trying to throw the bastard 0-2 breaking ball at that point. It's like they don't have the feel to understand. Like, no, if you're going to throw that pitch at this time, it's got to be just flipped in there. And if you are okay with throwing it at this point, you should be okay with it being hit 500 feet too.
Yep.
Because it has to be for a strike.
And at the end of the day, right, like, and this isn't just directed at LSU, it's directed at everyone. Yeah. Like the baseball, world, pitching, whatever. At the end of the day, the most important thing that you can do, like the other stuff can be nasty, and maybe that's going to get pitches out, and the analytics are going to say, hey, the slider is your best pitch, the slider is going to get the most swing and miss, all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, fastball command is the most important thing. If you don't have confidence throwing a fastball for strikes whenever you want to, and you can't assert any of that, your breaking ball stuff is only going to last you so long. Over the course of the whole season, maybe the numbers are more favorable. But when you put it in a box and you basically say emergency weather alert. So if you put it in a box and you basically say, all right, I need you to go and win 1, 2, 3 games in postseason play against the best of the best. If you're going to rely on this, you've seen it all the time. And you can't, whenever a good team is going to make you throw your pitch that's not good. And if it's not your fastball and you have to throw your fastball and you can't throw for strike, you're in trouble. So to me, that's the most important thing as a pitcher is fastball command and being able to pitch off of that. Your other stuff may be your better pitch. But it
doesn't matter if it's your better pitch because, like I swear, that's the one thing I think that pitching coaches, the pitching mind, if you will, that never really hit. They don't have the feel for this, and it's not you're not smart enough or anything. It's just you haven't been on the other side, or you haven't taken the onus to have the conversation with the other side enough to understand, like, it is a real thing and a real feel when you know that the pitcher is literally just attacking you. and he's literally coming at you. So when it's 3-0, whether I'm in swing mode or I'm in watch mode, and he has no problem with throwing that shit right down the middle, you're like,
Okay.
Right.
all right. He means business. Right?
Yeah.
Like he may have missed these other, but he ain't afraid. So like that's a real feel as a hitter, knowing like, okay, he's coming at me. So then now when it's 3-1 and you throw that slider and it's a little bit off, you get him swinging because he's feeling like, oh, I know he's coming at me.
Yep.
And now it's back. You're back into a 3-2 count.
You're
You know what I
in
mean?
the
As
fight.
opposed to let me try to be too cute 3-0 and I walk him. I don't even give myself a chance here.
Right.
I think a lot of pitching people or pitching minds, they forget that, especially through the course of the game. You let go of that and you kind of lose sight of how hard it is to stand in the box and square the damn baseball up.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No doubt. No doubt. And it's just, you have to be able to do that, right? And like you said, it's just enough to show that you have the ability to do it. And it's
Keep 'em honest.
now it's like, oh, okay, now I can't just sit breaking ball the entire time. Because I know that this guy can sneak this by me at any point. So to me, that's the one thing that I would like to see moving forward. And we're going to talk baseball at the end of the show. More with Coach Jay Johnson. He's got more insight than we do. He knows it. He sees it every day. He makes the calls. So we're going to ask him the questions about that. We're still stay on the baseball train, but I want to.
Real quick, when you talk about LSU and its postseason chances outside of the SEC tournament, if they go 2 of 3 against Ole Miss and win one in the SEC tournament, is that enough to get into NCAA play?
Maybe.
Still, it's your 13th win, I guess, in SEC. I know it's different, but it still holds some sort of weight.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you win, you go 2 out of 3, you're probably going to be the 12th seed, and you're going to play Georgia. Probably.
Yeah, that's what it's projected as right now.
Right, as of now. And so Georgia will be the 5 seed. Georgia's the hottest team in the SEC right now. They've won 8 straight games, which means they've won 7. Well, I guess maybe.
That means they either lost the game 1 or.
No, or maybe won 2 straight series and had 2 midweek games. Right? I don't know what their midweek schedule is. Anyway, they've won 8 straight, at least 6 straight SEC games. They're the hottest team in baseball, and they are probably, depending on what they do this past weekend, they are in a conversation. They are hosting. They're going to host a regional, and so you beat a team that is a host, a top 16 overall seed. Yeah, I think that's going to help your chances. I mean, any of those teams you play at that 5th as a 5 seed is going to be hosting. So I think if you win the series and you win a game or 2, I would like to see them win 2 just to feel real good about it.
I like to see him
think
keep
he
playing.
should.
I like to see him. And I mean
Go as
that-
deep as you can go.
No, yeah, like I mean that because I think that this team over health, over trying to figure out how we want to match up the postseason. I think this team needs confidence, and they need to see themselves succeed and need to see themselves win. So the more that they can win right now, meaning like you go and take 2 or 3 this weekend, you go and sweep this weekend, you get into the tournament and you go win 3-4 games. I think this team needs that feeling of, oh, okay, this is what it's like. This is what it feels like. This is the different scenarios of it. We can do these things before you get into the postseason. That's what I think this team needs.
Agreed. 100%. Can't argue. Lloyd?
What do you think you do with? Was that just a 1 game off for Travinsky? Because I feel like you need him in the lineup, and then you had an opportunity to pinch hit and put him in. Tough spot, but
I was kind of surprised they didn't go with him in the pinch hit situation right there. I really was. But I mean, I get it, man. Like there was a
1 for 21 stuff.
yeah.
Listen, it happens, right? I think, he's a guy he can get hot real quick. We need that. They need them to
And I
do
think
that.
he's one of those guys too that kind of plays on piss and vinegar a little bit. Maybe you piss him off a little bit, which is good. He'll come back with with a fire lit on his head. He doesn't have many more games in purple and gold.
Yeah.
So I would imagine every opportunity moving forward means a lot to him.
And here's the deal. Based off of Coach, based off Jay Johnson being his head coach and seeing him every day and seeing what's going on, kind of seeing where he is, he felt this was a baseball move. This wasn't analytics based. He felt that having him out of the lineup on that Sunday gave LSU the best chance to win that day. Maybe not for the entirety of the season, but for that day, based off of everything that was going on, he felt that was his best opportunity. And that's a coaching move. Like, that is what you want to see from your coach if he thinks that's the best move, right? Let me make adjustments based off of what my eyes are seeing and not just go based off of what numbers are telling me to do. And numbers may have told him to do that as well. I don't know. But I don't know if it's a long-term thing. I think it was more of, hey.
Refocus.
Yeah, you've been struggling for a little while. Let me give you a day off, right? Maybe whatever. Maybe not playing Thursday. Who knows? But give you some time to decompress and let's figure it out. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, because you talked about like the three-headed monster having like the big three is obviously a big part of that. Even when if he's not hitting homers, just his approach at the plate. Like I know he's been striking out, but they're terrified to pitch to him, like you said. And he's been able to draw walks and get on base. Like he does not the fleetest of foot.
Well, he's one of the few guys in the lineup. If you make a mistake, it's going to go 400 feet. 400 yards would be a long ways. 400 feet. You know, and so like
that's what I'm saying. There's a presence there
for sure. For sure, like he has a little bit of an intimidation to him, and a little bit of
Let's
scare
be honest,
factor.
when he's at his best, he knows how to use the middle and the backside of the field. So it's not even just so the presence. Like he has no problem with shooting doubles the opposite way or shooting a single or whatever it is. Like he's a clutch hitter when he's performing well. So I think you need to have him in the lineup. Now I get it, whatever, dude. Like I've seen coaches do it a million times where, hey, bro, you need a breather today, okay? And hopefully, like I said, that re-energizes him or that sparks something in him to where he's there for what is really their stretch run right here.
Yeah. He's going to be needed.
Yes. And
You know,
so
and
is
so-
somebody else that didn't see any action for, I think, the third straight week.
Cade,
No.
Thatcher,
Yes.
both of those guys actually are going to be needed.
Well, you'll figure out a lot of the questions that we've kind of been had about
Here's
Cade
the deal. Here's the deal.
this week.
No midweek game.
Mm-hmm.
Cade ain't going to be more rested than he is right now. He hadn't had this long of a stretch off from throwing in a game all year. He threw last midweek, which was last Tuesday.
67 pitches.
He has not pitched since. So it'll be a week tomorrow. There's no midweek game. So by the time Thursday comes, he is going to be a week and a half. By the time Saturday comes, he's going to be almost 2 weeks out.
I'll
10 days.
I'll be super
That's a
shocked
week,
if he's not throwing on Sunday.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Game three.
And I'm only saying that because, and I don't even disagree with. I mean, I don't really agree with it, but it seems to be, especially with how much Jay mentioned those midweek games over the past few weeks, that he saw one of their ways of getting into the postseason was making sure that they don't drop any of those. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, it's like, hey, I can pitch him on Sunday, but the way this thing's been going on Sunday, what if I pitch him and we lose? And I burn him and I don't have anything on Tuesday. And now we don't have anything there and we lose. So we took an L in both of those situations. That's not necessarily how I would have gone about it, but it almost seems like that was kind of his mindset of making sure that you're not throwing on Sunday in any way, shape, or form. You're throwing on Tuesday.
Right.
We don't have a Tuesday or a Wednesday this
Yep.
week. So if that's open, I would not be shocked at all if he's the starter on Sunday. And if he's the starter on Sunday, that gives you the chance of, outside of any of these guys throwing 40-plus pitches, that gives you the chance of throwing Griffin, Nate, Christian Little, all of these guys
he's
are
gained a newfound
open.
confidence back in Guidry.
Yeah, Guidry. All these
Right.
guys will be open outside of them throwing 40-plus pitches the days before to come in and throw on Sunday too.
Here's the deal. Ulloa impressed me a lot on Sunday.
And lower.
Lower, yeah. He came in, he did what he needs to do, but Ulloa, you get the feeling when he's on the mound, every pitch is going to be a strike. His delivery, how it's coming out, and it's coming out with something. He touched 96. He was throwing his breaking ball, which has been good, and he was able to be very effective. I think that's going to be beneficial moving forward because if you're going to make a run in the SEC tournament, you've got to have a lot of pitching. You've got to have guys that you have confidence going out there to throw multiple innings and be able to pick up some slack. And so that was good to see, at least.
Definitely. And like I said, he's another one. Like there's a group of probably 5 guys that not the restaurant.
5 guys
that if Cade is able to take the ball on Sunday and whatever it is that he does, outside of those guys having to go extended outings on Thursday and Friday, they're all available on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
So
You think they go jump Thursday?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't change it up.
Well, I'm saying because it's short rest, and then like we talked
It's
about
not that
earlier.
short a rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's not that short, and you're going to have you'll have another short rest, you know what I mean?
Short rest really, I know they said it because you're getting one less day, but short rest is really coming back on 3 days. Other than
Yeah.
that, you're good.
here's the deal, dude. Like, they got to win every game.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't say, oh, we're going to Johnny Holstaff Friday against their, you know, I think you throw jump. It's raining.
Yeah, it's raining.
It's raining hard. Raining cats and dogs out there.
Cats and dogs.
I've never understood that saying. Can you explain that to me?
I can look it up.
Hey,
Yes.
People, if we get power gets knocked out, it's not technical difficulties. It's not blamed on Lloyd. It's blamed on the weather that we get some flickers. You're seeing the flickering. So we appreciate y'all tuning in if we're not here in the next couple minutes. And the weather, you know, makes us end early. But what were you saying? What were we talking about before that?
The flickering?
No, before the flickering.
Just where they'll be if those guys can.
No, but there's a question you
Cats
asked.
and dogs refers to.
There you go.
It's an old theory where when cats and dogs got together, they would fight, and it turned into like a windstorm of cats and dogs getting at each other, which evolved into it's
Okay.
raining like cats and dogs.
Okay.
Not as interesting as I thought it would be.
No, but yeah, I think Gage Jump goes Thursday. I think Luke Holman goes on Friday, and I think I would love to see Kate go on Saturday. But somebody's going to go on Saturday. Somebody. Offense score runs.
Throw it out there, Dutton too as well.
Yep, Dutton.
Like,
Dutton's a
just
great one-inning guy.
Him being able to come out of the pen, like you have all those arms available to you if you can throw Kate out there.
Yep.
So it just feels right in
No doubt.
my opinion.
No
And I
doubt.
feel like it'll be managed a lot like you saw on Sunday, where you had Dutton go an inning, Moffitt go 2/3, lower 2 innings.
Is there a hurricane
Ulloa-
that's about to hit us?
Lower 2 innings, Ulloa 2 innings, Primo.
You're going to see a live hurricane
1/3,
a hurricane
little.
live in person.
Front
Dude,
door gets
dude.
blown open here.
The Weather Channel gets a ton of views.
Oh.
Oh shit, we're up. We're still good.
We ain't lasting much longer, but let's keep doing it.
We can do nothing about this. Just want to let y'all know
That was wild.
this is the weather.
I mean, am I going to get electrocuted?
Probably, dude.
Should we stop?
no.
Oh.
Electrocuted.
I mean, shit, I don't know.
You're not hardwired to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
Wear
I'm
your
touching
shoe-
shit.
wear
I'm
your
touching wires and shit.
You
like,
got your shoes on?
I got my shoes on.
You're grounded, dude. You're good.
All right.
That's where rubber meets the road. That's why the car is the safest
I
place.
Okay. What were we talking about? That distracted me again. That was kind of scary.
Rubber is an anti-conductor of electricity.
I understand that part. What were we talking about?
Oh, if you're going to Johnny Holstaff it, I said what they did, not even Johnny Holstaff it, but the way that they used these arms on Sunday, it gives me a little bit of confidence. And
Because they kept them 4 runs.
not only that, yeah, they threw, I think they threw 6 scoreless, but having the ability to mix and match and go, look, I don't care if it's only been one guy that you face out, bringing
Yeah.
the next guy.
Hey,
Because you
listen.
have that many arms.
Right.
It's just the extended appearances that have gotten them in trouble.
Right, and here's the deal. Alabama's offense is better than Ole Miss's offense. Alabama's offense is scarier than Ole Miss's offense.
I didn't know that they had it like that.
I
Yeah.
did. I told you.
Yeah.
They're
I
a
know,
good
I
ball
didn't wanna
club,
believe
man.
They are a good ball club. All right, we have a few more minutes before Jay gets on here. Hopefully, we have the electricity as he gets on here. But I want to stay in the baseball conversation because we're going to talk LSU in a little bit. I want to give us a little bit of a break for the LSU talk. If anybody's watching, that's all they want to hear about. Go take a shit or use the bathroom or get some food. Go eat dinner, and then come back in 30 minutes. You can
Go get your rations.
Yeah, and you can hear Jay.
Go to the gas station, buy all the gas.
But this is about
28
LSU
minutes
baseball.
to be exact.
28 minutes, to be exact. This is about LSU baseball, sort of. What'd you feel about Paul's debut? I thought it was electric. I thought.
You know what's crazy? Remember that there was a time like in the middle of the season ish last year where you saw him have to kind of battle, if you will. I felt like because of him going up to the big leagues, like this is the first time I saw him where I was like, wow, this is a little different in the sense of like it's not as he doesn't have the command that he usually has. He doesn't have the poise that he usually has, and somehow he still punched out 7 or 8 in like what 4 1/3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think 4 innings. I think it was bases loaded, no outs, first and second.
First and second outs.
Yeah.
My point to it is it was a super electric outing, and I don't think he was anywhere near
No.
as sharp as where he could.
No
I
doubt.
don't think I think you didn't even see close to the best that's yet to come when it comes
Right.
to Paul Skenes, which is crazy to me because the guy's that good. That's what I thought of. Like I enjoyed watching every bit of it. It was funny, like because there was a couple at bats where it was, what is it? the Japanese guy that's their their 2-hole hitter.
Oh, bro, he made him look silly. The first at bat.
No, both times.
I know.
The first at bat he made him look silly, and then the second at bat he comes back and he goes. I think he went slider, changeup, heater, sit down. He didn't even swing.
Yeah.
Like, and the guy's a good hitter.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like there was some of those, and then there was the first pitch blinker that he hit somebody with. Like, it was just he was erratic at points where it's just like that's not him.
Right.
And it was like, man, if you got this out of an erratic Paul.
Yeah, wait till he gets comfortable.
Wait till he gets comfortable up there.
I'd imagine he's probably would tell you, I wasn't nervous, like I felt good, all this stuff, right? No doubt. Subconsciously, though, you have a little extra juice.
Yeah.
You want to go out there, look at 17 pitches over 100 miles an hour. Like, that is, you're going to see that consistently. That's why he was drafted 1 overall. It's an easy delivery. But subconsciously, he was still a little juiced up. And what's the first thing that goes away when you're super juiced up, whether you feel it or not, is your fastball command, because it's the pitch you're throwing hardest. It's the pitch that can get away from you the easiest, and that is, you could see that a little bit, right? But I think it was very electric, and I think that it gave a lot of energy to PNC Park, which, by the way, if you've never been to PNC Park, top three stadium in all of Major League Baseball, probably the best backdrop in all of Major League Baseball, and it's historically, traditionally. Really, really cool place to play. Awesome baseball town. They haven't been good or relevant for a long time. You saw some energy in the stands. Paul's bringing that. You saw everybody wearing like those fake mustaches. They have 3 really young, talented pitchers in their rotation. They have an opportunity to make this run, and Paul has an opportunity to be the face of that. And he has an opportunity to be at like the media darling.
Yeah.
Around Major League Baseball, because he is taking a team that everybody has been wanting to see play well, has been a laughingstock for like a decade plus. He has a chance to take that team and elevate them to postseason status, and that would be awesome.
What's cool? What's cool to see when it's not when you can create a hype machine that's really kind of organic, right?
Yep.
Instead of you can tell when it's manufactured and they're trying to push to make something that's not really a something and it never really becomes a something. It's like, hey, bro, this kid went to Air Force at one point. So the whole America's guy, like, that's a thing. It's real, right? He was a 1-1 overall pick. He is every bit of 6'6", 250. He throws 100 miles an hour all the time. Like, he does all of these things, and he's got command.
He was in the Air Force. Legit.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
America.
Like, he was in the Air Force. Like that's all the thing. And then now he goes and plays on a team. It's not like he's in, I don't know. Like, let's say he was in Arizona right now. Like, yeah, I get it. They were in the World Series last year. They've won a World Series. But, like, they don't have the true blood following that a city like Pittsburgh has.
Right.
They don't have that true we love sports feel that the city of Pittsburgh has. So when you add all those things together, like, that is the organic hype machine. And it'd be really, really, really cool to see all those things kind of come together behind them, especially if they start winning.
Yep, no doubt. And he's going to be right in the center of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. And I'm kind of giving away my curtain call, but whatever. I'll give it back up. I'll talk about it again. But I thought it was electric. Listen, I actually got to go down. I thought I was going to delete the MLB.TV app and unsubscribe because you got that free 7-day trial.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants to keep us talking watch the starts.
I know, right? I think that's what they're trying to push you to do.
No doubt,
You
but
know,
I'm not.
They
I'm
want
not
you to
going-
forget.
Or
I'm
make you
not
forget.
going to. What did I say? MLB Network picked it up, didn't they?
Yeah, it's about Mother's Day surprise.
Yeah, I figured that.
Libby Dunn got her interview. She did.
So I heard that the parents turned it down. They didn't want to do it. They said, "Hey, Libby, like,
What a
somebody needs to do
perfect
it.
thing to like.
You do it.
You're perfect for this.
Yep.
It's like a best man speech. Like, oh no, you can handle that. You're
That's
great
what I'm
at
imagining.
it.
Because listen, it's the parents' time. If they wanted to have the interview, I'm sure they would have had the interview. They probably didn't want to do it. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably get it. I mean, it's $150.
That's
I'm
a
only
lot.
gonna watch Paul Skenes pitch once every 5th day.
You can either do that or buy the Instant Relay Deluxe package
What's that?
for the video game. It's like $150 for the Heisman edition.
It's the same thing. Oh, you're talking about for the video game? Okay.
Yeah. It's $70 for like the real one. Then they released like an Ultra Heisman, like 160.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's just saying same price point. If you're pocket watching,
I'm not gonna get either one. Oh, maybe I'll get the PlayStation one.
you gotta go PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's up quick.
But what he did special, it's been the talk of baseball is actually getting some buzz, which is awesome, right? No pitcher, no starting pitcher has thrown that many pitches over 100 miles an hour this year. So Shout out to that. I want to talk a little bit about that because I thought it was really cool. I mean, we were at some friend of Allie's graduated law school. So we're at her little graduation party in New Orleans, and I had the MLB TV out because I wanted to watch Paul Skenes. I feel like I was watching similar. It felt similar to like when Joe Burrow was in the NFL for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was tuning in to watch that, right?
I was in my hotel room naked, like mocking.
You were mocking it.
Yeah. No,
That's it.
I wasn't doing that.
Drop sleeves.
But I was, like I had it, and people like huddled around watching, asking about it. Like that's buzz of Major League Baseball. That forces people to watch Major League Baseball, and I think that's a really good thing for Major League Baseball. So I had to give some love to that, more love than just my curtain call. Are y'all interested? Are y'all into the basketball postseason at all?
Yeah, I turn it on.
Yeah, of course.
I am.
I
like
enjoy
it.
it.
I love postseason basketball. I think it's been fun. I like matchup. Last night's one of my favorite matchups to watch.
I haven't seen
This
since
round-
game.
this
I haven't
round.
seen since game 2 of the Nuggets.
So Anthony Edwards is a fucking stud.
Yeah, I haven't seen the rest of it, but yeah, I
Um,
watched game 1 and 2. I haven't seen games 3 and 4.
and obviously Joker. Did you see what? I'm gonna forget his name. Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect from 3.
Huh?
Perfect from 3.
Dude, he was 11 for 11 at one point in the game.
Yeah, that was the piece that they added that nobody really expected to play as big of a role.
They had
he
a
did.
point Gordon.
Yeah,
he was running the point.
I mean, he was a first or second pick in the draft. I mean, it was a while ago, but he never was fully utilized. I mean, Orlando is where careers go to die. It's hard.
Not anymore. Not Banchero.
Pretty much though.
Banchero, he's turning around.
Yeah, it's where careers go to die. You don't get talked about a lot.
Nope.
Aaron Gordon, when's the last time you looked up? It was the dunk contest.
You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
But
just feel bad
they're
for
playing
people.
better now.
Poverty franchise.
Banchero's got the boys. They're playing good basketball.
Where?
Where?
Playoffs.
Duh.
Playoffs.
Happens. Good basketball, not the best basketball.
And then you got Knicks Pacers, which has been electric.
That has been electric
Yeah.
too. New York Knicks being in the postseason is good for basketball.
Who's playing tonight?
You have
Celtics.
Celtics Cavs are on right now. Celtics up 62-57.
Donovan Mitchell out.
Is he out? I know it was questionable. And then you have the other interesting series, which I've been kind of keeping an eye on, Thunder Mavericks.
I
That's
love,
a
that
good
one
one,
too.
too.
I love that series too.
Yeah.
Luka has been putting up numbers.
The
but not
bionic
winning.
man, he's always hurt. The very European of him. And then Kyrie Irving is playing out of his mind.
Out of his mind. Kyrie Irving.
When he's engaged,
love
he
him or hate him, he's top 3 basketball player in the NBA. If he's like,
decides to, which I respect.
he's decided to this year.
Yeah.
Because he may go down as the most talented or
Unbelievable.
the most skilled to ever touch a basketball.
No doubt.
It's
No
literally like he has the ball on a string.
No doubt.
For all the kids out there that don't know what yo-yos are, like that's
Yeah.
that's what it looks like when you're watching
No
him
doubt.
play.
Walking the dog.
The layup that he had, and he hung in the air, and they had the 3 monsters around him, and he somehow was able to hold up long enough
Take the contact.
to be able to let them come down, and he's floating, and he's able to just shoot a floater and make it.
Or the other layup where it gets blocked 60% of the way by Kawhi, and then he still somehow makes the shot.
Right.
Yeah, he's a magician.
He's good.
Like Kawhi, full palm
And
on
he
the,
can
on the
shoot it
basketball.
too. Don't leave him open.
And he's naturally left-handed.
Skilled. The most skilled ever.
Yeah, he's impressive.
Celtics hate him.
He's impressive. But that's going on tonight. Who else?
Except you have only
And
2 games.
Tomorrow is when.
It's been the feature film.
Yeah.
Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Knicks Pacers. And that
Yeah.
Knicks Pacers series has
Yeah.
been a heavyweight fight. It's been so much fun to watch. The crowds are insane. They're going back to MSG tomorrow, which I can't wait.
I've never gone to any type of event at MSG. That's the one place I really want to go. Like, I've walked past Madison Square Garden a few times, right?
Madison Square, my God.
Yeah.
See the Knicks play.
I've walked by them a few times. I've just never actually gone into MSG and watched it in like a game.
Never went
or
to Penn Station either? You know Penn Station's like under
Yeah,
MSG.
underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never like been there like, damn, I'm in Madison Square Garden, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, that's something I really want to do. Being at a playoff Knicks game would be awesome. Sitting right next to Spike.
Being outside of that stadium, and you're like, bro,
Dude.
why is that right here in this city?
Unbelievable. It's pretty nuts. One of the coolest venues in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everybody's favorite, but nobody wants to go play there.
Not because of the venue.
It's not because of the venue.
I can't even say anything bad about him. I'll get kicked out.
Yeah, that's
Man's
tough.
got rabbit ears.
That's tough. New York teams are tough. You gotta have a certain temperament. That's why Jalen Brunson's killing it over there. You know, I don't think
Who,
every-
Red
I don't-
Fox?
don't think he's cool just chilling, right? Like he's all right. He doesn't need all the other shit that goes around that kind of distracts people in New York. So, last basketball question. I think JJ Redick gets a head coaching job.
Hey,
How about Colin
Where's his
Cowherd?
hat backwards too much?
How about Colin Cowherd? Did he say something about it, right?
Yeah. And
said
then LeBron quote tweeted it and tagged JJ in it.
He shouldn't be a head coach because he wears his hat backwards.
And
Basically.
then LeBron has been yearning for JJ his entire life. I need a spot up shooter. He had Kyle Korver. He wanted JJ the entire time.
Here's the deal. Does Ham get fired?
I think he's already been fired.
I mean, so if Ham gets fired, and does JJ?
Oh no
get the
way!
job?
That would be awesome.
That's basically where I was going.
That would be. That would be a great hire because that's somebody LeBron actually.
That's my
respects
point.
too.
That's my point. LeBron respects him. Like
Player coach Jackie Moon, come off the bench, give him 15 minutes.
bro. I mean, think about it.
He can still shoot it.
First head coaching job for the Los Angeles Lakers, and put yourself on a team that has a chance to win.
Title
NBA championship. Because any team that LeBron's on is a contender.
Bronny James passed his physical.
He's 6'1.5".
Yeah, he's been listed at 6'5".
What?
Yeah, they would listed him in the program as I think it was 6'4" or 6'5", and they measured him. He's like shade over 6'1".
6 foot and a half. I didn't see listed. I thought he was listed at 6'3".
Yeah, regardless, but I saw
6'5".
6'4".
I can take this 6'3", right? Because like shoes on, okay. Hey, bro, you're 6 feet.
stretching.
6'5" is a lot.
They did have a 6'8"
6'7"
wingspan.
Yeah, 6'8"
6'7",
wingspan.
yeah. That's when you want to be 6 feet.
Listen, yeah, he's staying in the.
Bro, I thought he was at least like 6'4". He's 6'1".
6 foot and a half
That's what I mean. It makes so much sense now.
without shoes.
It literally
Make
makes
sure
so much sense now.
Yeah,
I get it.
Russell Westbrook's his favorite player.
Russell's bigger than that. Russell's 6'3".
Yeah, I know. He can grow. He's still a child.
Yeah, he's only 18.
Bryce Maximus had shot up through the gym though.
Huh?
The younger brother, Bryce Maximus, he got all of it.
How tall is he?
I think he might be 6'5", and he is in 8th grade, 9th grade.
Okay, I know he's
He's
that
a problem. Rocks the rec specs.
No,
Everybody thought he wasn't
I've seen him. I
talented.
just didn't know how tall he was.
How did they keep that under wraps for so long?
LeBron, dude, it's LeBron.
That's crazy.
Hey, he's 6'4", 6'5". He was 6.
It's all gonna come out in a little bit, Bronny.
That's crazy.
Other news, changing completely to different sports. Does your boy Rory win his first major? In
Not my
10 years?
boy.
I love Rory. You don't like Rory?
I'm fine with him. I would never
You don't
bet
like
on him.
Rory. You don't like Rory.
He's okay. He's just fine.
Shuffle of the field.
I feel bad
Shuffle
for
of
him.
the field.
The field. Tiger's in it. He's already at Valhalla.
Hey, they say he shot 62 in a
I
practice
saw
round
that.
last week.
Stop saving. Save some of those bullets, cuz. You only got so many walking. He shouldn't even be playing practice rounds.
No, the reason why he didn't win. He got tired, but like he lost some of his feel. Like he's got to be around there. Got to feel the
Yeah, you
walking
can hit some
the
chip
course.
shots. Yeah, you could walk it, but we don't need to be playing 36 out here. You got a whole day to go. We got Thursday to get ready for.
Speaking of, U Club's hosting
Yeah.
the regional,
An
NCAA regional.
LSU guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
actually,
witty and
I actually saw him in area on the road this morning. He was driving to it. He was reading a text and he was at a light.
He had
and
the
No.
little thing on the window that was LSU golf.
He looked like he was salty as hell. So I text him. I go, man, I guess that's the face of somebody who can't go play some golf today with this weather coming. And he's like, I'm actually going to watch the regional tournament.
I guarantee you had a tee time and then they texted him. It was like, because you can't
Coach,
you can't play today.
You can't do this
Well, I'm
today.
coming to watch. Pivoted real quick. I thought about that when I saw it was announced at U Club. I was like, there's some sad sack that's like, I'm going to go play golf on Monday. Had no clue.
Well, they always know it's closed.
Okay, Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, Tuesday. There you go.
And you're like, I'm going to play some golf, sneak out, hit some balls. Like, no, you're not. Watch some golf.
Yeah, he was gonna watch
LSU guy
him.
was 5th. Last I saw, he was through 15. Where is he at now?
Connor Gaunt moved into a tie for second place on his final hole of the day with a 15-foot birdie putt.
Nice.
Evoking
18.
cheers from Paul Maneri and others in the crowd.
They said that?
No.
Oh. I was like, well, that'd been great for Coach.
I'll do my
Oh, my computer's dead.
I do want to get for
like
the
That stinks.
Paul Skenes.
Yeah.
There is a very revered writer who was none impressed with. This is going to be my mistake of the day. I'll just find another one. But this is Bill James, who is
my God.
well respected, or was at one point for he is
Analytics
basically
guy.
the Webster Dictionary of baseball. And they asked him if he was excited about the Paul Skenes appearance. And he goes, Let me know if Skenes turns out to be anything special. I don't have enough brain cells left to worry about prospects who are supposed to be good.
What a stupid response.
And they asked, he's like, were you excited for Strasburg? He goes, I would have been if he threw a no-hitter. It's like, you cover baseball, cuz. This is what you have 1 second to get out of bed.
You didn't play baseball, I don't think, right? Didn't he? Wasn't he
No,
just
he's
a
a
nerd?
nerd.
Wasn't he just a nerd that just got all the analytics and like did all this stuff and people ended up like.
Yeah, he made up a lot of like these advanced metrics
Right.
that like got them printed and used. He was in the Red Sox organization when they went on that run in 2004. So that's where he gets all of his power from. He's got the most boring website I've ever seen in my life. Look at this thing.
That's an awful response to that.
Oh yeah, well, don't be a curmudgeon
You don't
about
love
it.
baseball then if you're not excited to watch somebody that's supposed to be
generational.
talented. Yeah.
Look, this is his website. I mean, talk about fuck me to tears. Like, how boring is that? Hey, Bill. Like, what are these?
Are you talking to him?
No, this is just his website. Tweets from Bill. Like, there's nothing here. It's a newspaper. So that's the kind of guy you're dealing with that's not excited about ball Skenes.
Nah, which is
It's just going to be the flag bearer for your sport for the next 15
Did
years.
you send Coach Jay Johnson an email?
I did send Coach Jay Johnson an email.
I'm kind of holding out hope he gets there a little early.
Yeah. When you said 7:40, I knew we'd be stretching this thing.
Weather's not looking
Well, he
great.
said he was going to get back home last time he came on around that time. So
Yeah. I'm monitoring the situation. If we want to do curtain calls now, because we'll probably run up
yeah.
against 8 o'clock.
Yeah, let's do our curtain calls. You did mistake of the day. We'll count that as your mistake of the day.
So, yeah.
Brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
Bill James.
Curtain calls brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And me.
What we got?
Want me to lead it off? I'll lead it off.
Yeah, this is fire.
So we got this video. If anybody remembers the XFL, the NFL. Actually,
You hate me, baby.
Yeah, they
Yes,
took
Rod
some choice things from the XFL to upgrade and make the NFL better. I just happened to stumble upon this video, and that it's something that the UFL is now doing,
Hey,
which
United
is
Football League.
United Football League.
Combination
And
of XFL. And
if the NFL is smart with the resources and what people can do with these things these days, I would imagine they should probably start trying to find contracts and ways of putting this into NFL because this shit's clean.
you're probably gonna see it.
Yeah, like this is something I would like to see up there. This is drone footage
real life play.
mid-game of a real play. So
That's
imagine
pretty
being
sick.
able to track a 35-yard bomb from Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson into the end zone, into the back of the end zone as the ball's flying.
This is good. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever make it to the NFL because of the implications.
Why?
If a ball hits a drone.
No. There's ways you can do
Well,
it.
dude, these cameras are so powerful. They can be high enough.
Yeah.
This thing is right next to him.
No, it ended up flying there, but
Yeah.
my point is like
You
saying,
can wait long enough.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
then-
There's ways of being able to do it. Yeah, 100%. I think if you can start getting some of that stuff in there, like after the broadcast view, when people would,
Oh yeah.
come on,
I'm with
and
that.
it's not just for actual like broadcast TV time, but for you to make post production clips of stuff
Here's
that
the
you put
deal.
on social media and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
Are we ever gonna see cameras in the helmets?
Like
Built into
NFL
the
2K?
helmets, right? Like,
I don't really love that idea.
no, me either. But I mean, think about it. They're trying to get you as close to the field of play as possible, right? So like, hey, somebody is like, let's say a running back takes us 60 yards, right? And like he has a camera on his helmet. I'm not saying I would love seeing that either, but like,
I think it would be cooler
Some people
for a
would think-
skill player. Like you always see with the quarterback, like 2-0-1 all practice.
right.
Yeah, and
Right.
like that's interesting.
saying.
But if you saw like a running back cut up into the hole and you saw like real action of like what they're
That's
doing,
what I'm talking
I don't.
about.
I
could
don't
jive with
think
that.
you'll get that, dude. I think I'm being honest with you. I think the way quarterbacks manipulate with eyesight and helmet, I think really, really top level players do the exact same thing at all kind of positions.
No, I know-
Receivers running routes, they're not going to stare where they're
Right.
going. Running backs that are making a cut to a hole, it's not. You're going to get this helmet, and they're going to be seeing this,
Lizard eyes.
and they go there. So like that helmet thing's going to give you this, and all of a sudden they're here. So I think you're going to get a lot of like it's like one of those things to me. Just
it's
to
a
me,
POV thing.
it sounds great. Oh my god, it sounds great, but I don't think it's the quality that it really is. Even like when guys use it in practice, like the Dolphins right now, they use that with Tua. They use the stuff, and it's for a head. But I think they want it because they want to make sure, like, hey, I need you to be able to look him off. So I need to know that your head's here.
Right.
That way, when you flip back, this spot's
Right,
open.
no doubt.
Like I need you to do this. So don't tell me you did this when I'm literally looking at where your head
doubt.
is. So
doubt.
I don't know. Like I think that's
I
one
think
of the
the
things that sounds
UFL will
great.
probably try it. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried it.
I love this drone thing though.
I do too. I think the drone thing's here to stay. I'm just saying that would be like technology's always they're always trying to do something, right? You got pylon cams, you got the drone, you got like they're gonna try to stretch it and see if it works. Now, is it gonna stay? I don't know, but the drone thing is awesome. The drone thing's staying.
I would love to have been in the helmet though for the Beastquake. Marshawn Lynch just shedding people. I'd love to be on that ride. It gets to say it's unfortunate, right. But if you could have put me in the, I guess you wouldn't have no microphone in there.
No, that's no. You have no microphone. You literally have
just video.
Just video. When you play it, music over it. If you want to replay, no sound. Can't have that.
Curtain call to me, or my curtain call is up, and it is to LSU former greats. One, happy birthday to Tyrann Mathieu.
Hey.
Happy day.
Former Tiger, Bednarik Award winner, All-American, Heisman finalist, Honey Badger, 32.
Super Bowl champ.
We're same age.
Said Honey Badger like it was a
Super Bowl champ.
It is. Wear like a badge of honor, cuz. So he turns 32 today. So makes me feel old because we're the same age, and he's done a lot more with his life than mine. And also, do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Other LSU legend, Thad Moss, retired today.
Oh.
Talk about the pylon cam that play against Alabama where he re-entered the field of play legally and then toe-tapped pylon cam right there. Bang. I would say instrumental in LSU success.
Very instrumental.
Probably the best LSU tight end in LSU history.
Wish Robert Rowe.
Who was that? Dick Dixon. Foster Moreau.
Doug Blanchard.
Oh.
Wow. Look at you.
D'Angelo Peterson.
How's it going?
Keith Singer. Mitch Joseph.
D. Gordon.
No, who was there? We're not going to get into that. Boy, that was a third offensive tackle.
Stop, bro. Go.
My curtain call is to we talked Paul Skenes, right?
Dylan Gordon?
Part of it. Not just my curtain call. It's just a part of the bigger part of this curtain call, and that is to Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has an opportunity right now with all of the young, marketable talent on these big teams, highlighted by Paul Skenes right now. And I'm not saying it because I'm super biased towards LSU. I'm not saying it because I'm super biased towards Paul Skenes. I'm saying it based off of what the situation is right now. And that is the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have traditionally been, the last probably 10 years or so, have been a cellar dweller of Major League Baseball, but have some of the richest baseball history in all of Major League Baseball. Great stadium, great fan base, a fan base that's yearning for them to be good so they can have postseason baseball back in there.
Because they don't spend any of that shit.
Yeah, and they don't spend money, right? But they have a rotation that's full of three guys that are young and that are cheap for them, which is good for the Pirates, and that are talented, highlighted by Paul Skenes. And you saw the energy Paul Skenes has brought to the stadium, sold out, fans wearing his fake mustaches, and it feels like he is putting them in a position where they're relevant. They're gonna have more eyes on them. They're gonna have more hype on them, and maybe they create some momentum and they start winning some games. And maybe he is part of this rebuild they've been trying to do for the last 9 years
Since 2013.
The process.
Whenever
Pittsburgh way.
That's when Pittsburgh was on
McCutchen.
fire. Yeah, McCutchen. Also, McCutchen, the only guy that
all three of those. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say he faced Strasburg in his debut as he played against the Pirates. McCutchen led off.
Played with Garrett Cole in his debut.
Played with Paul Skenes in his debut. He's a part of every single one of those.
Yep, the three most legendary righties that come
without
out
it
of the
being
draft.
Without it being like October or late September baseball on like contending teams, like some pretty electric regular season ball games to be a part of. And all of them that happened obviously pretty early into the season too.
So my curtain calls to baseball. They have this awesome opportunity to have good things in the media and a guy that is universally liked around the country, who people are rooting for on a team that people desperately want to see win. So don't mess this opportunity up. Take advantage of it. What? Why the raised eyes?
Oh, because I got the zero gravity from our friends over at
Indigo. Look at you.
Indigo
Look, this
paper.
is your ad.
And I was looking at this is 100 milligrams. So watch your.
So here's the deal. They
Watch
Coach,
your lips.
Perfect. Coach is here. So it is the serving size. There's 47 in this bad boy. Just do a capful if you get the 100 milligram, or else you'll end up
Ask Lloyd
in the
about
wind.
it. Ask Lloyd about what it looks
I'll
like.
take the whole thing
Yeah,
down and
yeah.
report back on Friday.
Take a video.
Yeah,
Actually vlog the whole thing.
yeah. It'll be like a 48-hour stream.
Yeah, just hey, you and Jersey Jerry. All right. Without further ado, let's not keep him waiting. He's been so gracious
Kind with this time.
with his time to bless us. Obviously, he's had a long day. He had his radio show that he's just getting off of. Coach Jay Johnson, appreciate you coming back on the show. Welcome back to the show. Sorry that you had to jump in when Lloyd was talking about his extracurriculars.
Oh, it gets worse than that, Coach. That was the G-rated version.
But, yep. Thanks, Coach. Welcome back. How are y'all? How's the morale? How's the team feeling? We talked a little bit about this early in the show. Y'all have played really good baseball. Like, really good baseball for 3 games against a really good team. And at the end of the day, there was a couple plays that went the opposite direction of where it needed to go. Or y'all, it would be a whole completely different conversation. What's the feel right now between the staff, the players, and moving forward? Because the reality of it is you have 3 games left, and these are 3 biggest games of the season.
Yeah, tough end result as far as the series, and I don't know that I've actually ever had one like that. Friday, I mean, we thought we completely dominated the game, and 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on base, and Griffin, in my opinion, is the best relief pitcher in the SEC, and I'm sure the statistics back that up this year. Hard to let that one get away, and especially in the way that it did, where it was walk, hit by pitch, and then the swinging bunt play. But credit to Alabama, scrappy team. Was proud of the team for bouncing back on Saturday and playing as well in the game as we did. And then, yesterday, we lost 4-3. I just would call it kind of like a normal game. I thought our pitching staff did a really good job of keeping us in it. Offense tried to mount a comeback and fell up a little short. But the guys played hard, competed, invested, quiet bus ride. I think for 2 reasons. They're obviously disappointed, and they laid it out there this weekend.
Yeah.
It just didn't go our way. Now, as far as going forward, that's all that you can do. And, we're going to keep playing until somebody tells us we can't. And, looking at it, we obviously have work to do, and this is not being just an optimist. There's actually a little more of a path there than you would think. And it's good in one sense that we're still going. On the other side, it makes it even tougher to swallow Friday's game, So we'll get back to work tomorrow. Players had the day off. And full speed ahead. We're happy to be at home. We played it well at home the last couple home series. Fans have been great, which is something that you expect here with LSU baseball. They've really showed up the last couple home series, and hopefully counting on them to do that again this weekend.
Coach, you talked about your path, and we talked about that as well. We're going through the standings of the SEC, right? There's probably only 5 teams. Well, let's say 6 teams. Let's throw Mississippi State in there. 6 teams that are guaranteed a winning record in conference, which means there's 8 teams that are going to be 500 or below, right? And I think to your point, it's a very tough conference. People are beating up on each other. Last year, the SEC got 10 teams into the tournament. I would imagine that this year would kind of follow suit, which to your point gives you guys an opportunity to make the postseason. You have a little bit of wiggle room, I would say. Not much. You have a crack, but you have more opportunity to make this postseason run, I think, than people think, right? And so, obviously, a sweep would be the ideal, 13-17. If you end up going 12-18, and you go and you have a couple, game or 2 you win in the SEC tournament, do you think that's enough potentially to get y'all into the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think we're still in the conversation is how I would answer that question. As I would say, probably, 12 of the 14 teams in the league are. I went through this stuff pretty heavily last night because I had to send some notes to the regional advisory committee. And if you're just looking at RPI and RPI top 50 wins and wins against teams that are going to be considered, for the tournament. Like in a normal year, if the league record was a little better, like this wouldn't even be a conversation because that Houston College Classic, I mean, there's a win there against Texas, who's in second place, I think, in the Big 12, or maybe even first. I hadn't checked the standings. Louisiana Lafayette is winning the Sun Belt. There's a win there. Louisiana Tech is right above us in the RPI. We beat them 11-1. And then, we didn't win some of these series, but there's a ton of wins against teams that are above us in the RPI. So we definitely have a case. Do I think we're one of the best 31 or 33 at-large teams in the country? 100%. There's no doubt about that in my mind. It's just, how are they going to evaluate it? Now, all we can do is what we have in our control, which is try to play well this weekend. And just like last weekend, we're playing a team in a really similar spot. And so, what do we have the benefit of? We've had a better non-conference than they have. We have a better overall record than they have. I haven't looked at much of the metrics, but it comes down to if you win the weekend, you're going to finish tied with them with the tiebreaker. So that's one team figuratively you should be ahead of. Who knows what's going to happen with Florida,
right?
With overall record thing.
And they got to go to Kentucky. They got to play against Kentucky next week too.
I think they're at Georgia, actually.
You told me it was Kentucky? Who told me it was Kentucky?
Georgia,
same thing.
I think Vanderbilt's at Kentucky. There you go. It's like, I mean, and Ole Miss is a good team. Like, This is just not like anything else in college baseball. And we're not making any excuses. We are where we are. And guys are still playing hard and they're still fighting. Like, that was a really tough deal on Friday night. And like I said, I mean, there's a lot of life value in how they responded on Saturday. And then Sunday, we got beat. And, you win the game on Friday, you can live with Sunday a little bit easier. But it's full speed ahead, and let's do what we can do with what we can control.
Coach, now listen, I'm not here to pour any salt in the wound or anything, but knowing like the baseball mind that you are and as much baseball that you know and that you are still learning, that you still push and you still challenge yourself to get better every day, if you will. If we go back to Friday night and how much of a tough loss that was, and now I'll sit here and say that I think it's pretty obvious, especially with what he did the week before, that he earned the length of the leash that he had. But I would imagine a lot of the thought process going into the 8th and 9th that day was, if I don't have to use Griffin right here, I won't use him. Was there ever a thought to bridge to Griffin with a different arm, or was it, Christian, I need you to get here? And like I said, he earned the leash that he got by what he did and how heroic he was the week before. But was there ever a thought to, man, if I could get someone else in there before Griffin, or if I could just not have to use him at all this game, I would love to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And, going through the whole thing, like we were up 5-3, and Christian, got off the field with first and second and 2 outs. And, going into the series, I felt like we needed to win 2 games. Like if we won 2 games, we were going to be in a really good spot. And so the thought was, if we extended the lead, then we would keep rolling him back out there and go like, hey, this is going to be his bolt, kind of like the Texas A&M game last weekend. And he'd done such a good job with that. And, we haven't extended a ton of leads, but there you go. Milam hits a homer. I don't remember, somebody else Kling got on base. We bunted him over with Milazzo, and then Tommy hit a double, and boom, it's 7.
Right.
And then, were we trying to maybe get through with Holden Griffin until Saturday? Absolutely. And I don't know that I would necessarily have done that if it wasn't for the circumstances that we're in as a team. But with the way Christian had been throwing the ball, not just last weekend, but the previous 10 or 12 innings, I felt good like we could get through it. Well, gives up the homer, and we lost a little bit margin for error, but no problem. You have Griffin in and a 2-run lead. And then now they were both in the pitch count area where we could use both of them again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt good about that. And then Griffin executes, and credit them. They somehow pushed that run across. I'm not quite sure how that ball fell in the outfield with 2 outs to score the 6th run after the wild pitch or pass ball, whatever it was. But we got off the field with the lead. I mean, and then we get the first 2 outs, very, Griffin-esque or Griffin style. And, then we have 2 strikes and nobody on base. And I'm sure the win probability was like 0.1% at that point for Alabama. And credit them. They walked. They got hit with the pitch. And then we had the unfortunate play at the end, So tough deal. And like I said, walking out to the huddle, it was like, all right, this is about how you respond. And then, I mean, we all want to be in the postseason, but there's a lot of life that's really relevant right now that we got to make sure that we lock into. And they did that. And so wanted to win the series, but was proud of the bounce back on Saturday.
Seeing this game from ground level, from the angle that you get it in the dugout, it's different from obviously anything that we see on TV and the broadcast angle and all of that stuff. If there's a coaching point at all on the play that ended the game Friday night, in your mind, what is it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a really, really tough play. So first off, I would just say, hey, maybe we bite the slider a little bit more and get the strike.
Give me a call.
And block it and tag home plate. But, credit their amateur old player for touching it. And then with Griffin, I mean, he kind of aggressively falls off the mound to the third base side. And so, I mean, he had a ways to go to get to it, which is why Alex beat him to the ball. And he did not hesitate at all. And then he did a good job getting to his right leg. I mean, the guy was kind of a jailbreak swing.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a whole lot of time. I don't believe there was time to set his feet and have a chance to record the out. I thought he got to his right leg good. I thought, the arm angle was good. I mean, the only thing I would say is maybe you grab it and you can go from over the top so it's a little bit more straight of a throw. So that way the runner doesn't come into play at all. And it hits him in the face, or hits him in a straight line.
Right.
But that's really tough at game speed. That's like saying, hey, to a quarterback that's got to get rid of it in 3 seconds or he's going to get trucked. Like, hey, you should have saw the coverage they were disguised in and thrown it, over here.
Right.
So tough play. We asked for the review, and I actually had a little hope we were going to get it.
I did too. I mean, it looked like you
definitely had a case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with how quickly they got back and just said no interference. The explanation I got is they were already looking at the play, anticipating we were challenging it. And I was like, well, still, you can look at it for longer than 8 seconds, and was not happy about that. But the explanation that I got is that the runner where the runner was at did not affect what they called that poor of a throw. And so I was like, wait a minute, he's either inside the line or not. And then they agreed with me. And then it was like, so this is basically your guys' judgment. And that was the explanation that I got.
Yep.
Did that ball come off the bat, the bunt or the swinging bunt, did it come off the bat and or roll further than what maybe you anticipated it?
I would agree with that. Now that you say that, and I think he kind of had to high step it and kind of keep going to get there. But looking at it afterwards, I still don't know that Griffin would have been able to make the play.
Yeah,
right.
And I think he was the right one to make the play, 100%.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, he ran a lot further for it, which is why I don't think he had time to set his feet. And instinctively, Alex, he did everything that he could on that play. And I hate it when that happens at the end of the game because I mean, there's 27 outs and I really don't like it at the end of that game because we did a lot of things well in that game. Obviously, we missed third base, run gets taken off the board. Well, it's not just that. You got one of your better RBI guys coming up with a man on second, and we'd extended that lead. So if you push another one across there with the run that's on the board, that might even change how the pitching goes for them for the rest of the game as well. And so there were some things like that. I mean, TJ McCants in center field, man, he looked like you guys were running around out there making and he won them the game.
Yeah, he
won the game on Friday night.
Yep. He did. And like you said, the way y'all responded or the way the guys responded on Saturday, Luke Holman having a Luke Holman-esque game sort of, right? battled his ass off, but didn't have the strikeouts that he's had throughout the course of the year, but was able to get you deep in the game, was able to do the things he needed to do to keep you winning, and did the same thing, y'all, increase runs. And so that's got to, moving forward, right, moving into these last 3 games, has got to make you feel good. Like, hey, over the last 3 weeks, we've played really, really good baseball. We've played winning baseball. We've extended leads. We've played good defense. We've pitched really well. We've had a couple bad bounces go here or there. Like, y'all aren't far off. That's got to make you feel good moving into this weekend and into the SEC tournament.
Yeah, but we're confident, and we're confident we can win any game that we strap up for. We dug ourselves a little bit of a hole against a tough schedule, and it's kind of just shrunk all the margin for error out of this thing. But we are playing better, and the players deserve all the credit for that, in terms of staying with this. And like I said, we know we want to, be a plus 40 win team, hosting regionals and going to Omaha and all of that. But the effort that they're giving to winning and staying committed to what they need to do to win has been good. And I think you'll see a lot of the same this weekend.
Coach, I want to ask you a similar question, just in a different part of the field that Jared had asked earlier. So, obviously, armchair quarterbacks and looking back after the fact is the easiest thing to do in the world, right? Hey, could have done this one, whatever. You play A&M the weekend before, lefty, righty, and you had a lineup for that weekend, and then this weekend you have lefty, righty, and the lineup gets changed. You make some changes. What went into those decisions? Obviously, analytics, matchups, all of those things are part of it. But what went into the decision of saying, hey, this is what I think's the best? Like, why change the lineup over the course of those 2 weekends?
Yeah, I think going to Sunday, I mean, we were facing a righty, and
right.
It was a much different pitcher than the previous 2 pitchers. And, frankly, with the way our pitching has been on Sunday, yeah, you got to score, but, you need to be able to catch the ball in the outfield. And we felt like they were going to put the ball in play a lot more and just trying to limit big innings, by getting Paxton back out there, who did a good job throughout the weekend of getting on base. We felt like we could match up later in the game and go, when they went to Alton Davis, we pinch hit Ethan Fry, and he hit a bullet right at the shortstop with guys on second and third. Now, if you get those 2 in and you do what you do the next inning, we have the lead. And just, Hayden struggled a little bit. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but going back to last weekend, he's had, 3 or 4 rough games in a row, and just thought it was a good day and a matchup to hey man, let's look at something maybe a little bit different here. And then, we were going to potentially use him when they went to Alton Davis, but the other guys did a great job against Alton Davis, so he was out of the game quickly. But yeah, it just, what did we need to do to win that game is really how we set it up. And, it's not 162 games or 141 games where you have hey, this is a set lineup, or this is our guys, or we know what we're necessarily getting. And so we look at it critically. And, I'll be honest, this is one of the tougher years I've had where there's not a lot of separation between your 3rd best hitter and your 12th best hitter, to be honest with you. And so, it makes it a little more difficult. Yeah. I think we've played better offense, here over the last couple of weeks. But we played, Jake against Texas A&M, and we played Paxton this weekend, and thought Paxton did a great job of getting on base this weekend, right. And, turning the lineup over. So as far as the catching, sometimes it goes into who's pitching that day in terms of what we feel like we want to get out of them. And it didn't work. We scored 3 runs on Sunday, but I think if you look at how the 6 runs were scored,
right,
or the 7 on Friday, it's not just because the lineup was chalk. I don't buy into that.
Absolutely.
I don't buy into that at all.
Right.
Coach, I want to take you back to Saturday for a second. Obviously, it's hard to get off the mat from Friday's loss and how that all played out. But to have Luke Holman go, somebody that was formerly at Alabama, be able to make his homecoming, we were talking about it on the show, it's either going to be that Luke Holman that you said who snatched at the ball and had a whole bunch of piss and vinegar, or somebody that maybe might get to him a little bit. How crucial was it to have him in that moment for that Saturday to pick you up, kind of give you something else to play for in a sense where you can kind of wipe away Friday?
Yeah, I don't think it had a big effect on the team, but I'll just say this about Luke. That's who you want in one of those kind of games. You know what I mean? In terms of what are we going to get? We're going to get strikes. We're going to get competitiveness. And I only had about a 20-second conversation with him about going back to Alabama. And like, this is about execution and you being yourself and attacking. And we actually had a little bit of an advantage. Obviously, there were some guys that were on their team last year, but it's a pretty different lineup and a pretty new lineup. And so, other than the catcher, Max Gussetti, who caught him all the time, there's a lot of new guys to that. I mean, I'm proud of him. It's a rivalry. It seems like Alabama and LSU people don't get along for a lot of reasons. And, he just went out there and competed. I think in the first inning, he was a little off with his command, and I just went out there and just kind of got him reset. And keeping that inning at a 1 was awesome. And he kind of navigated traffic, and those guys were battling. I'm sure they needed to win anyways, but I'm sure they wanted to beat him too. And took him a while to even, collect a strikeout because they were fouling off pitches and fighting off pitches. But he gave up 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings, and he's one of the best pitchers in the country. And my only complaint about Luke is we're only probably going to have him for 1 year. Other than that, he's awesome, and probably doesn't get recognized as much as he should with how consistent he's been for us.
Oh, Coach, one more before they pull the cane out on me. I am undefeated at Alex Box whenever I come to the game, so just put that in the back of the tickler file. Just let me know if you need me.
Yeah, why don't you show up Thursday?
Tickets are at the gate.
There you go. Yeah, be there, Lloyd. Yeah, don't say that stat and not show up to the game. Coach, we appreciate you coming on as always, obviously. Actually, before you go, I know you've been asked this a lot. Paul Skenes, we talked a lot about him on the show. Obviously, we've talked a lot about him over the last couple of years. But what he did in his debut, watching him pitch in his debut, he was electric. This crowd was electric on a team that hasn't been very hyped, right? That's probably the nicest way to say it. It feels like he's bringing some energy to a team that people desperately want to be good, and that's pretty cool to see. How was it from your perspective, having been behind the scenes with him?
Did you cry?
Yeah, everything about it was awesome. Kind of a cool story. We were on the bus going to Alabama on Wednesday afternoon, and I think that's when they announced it. I happened to see it on my phone. Well, like 2 years ago when we were going to Alabama, I remember like very vividly, thinking about, okay, is he going to go in the portal or not? The big righty from Air Force, you know what I mean? Like, we needed starting pitching, for last year. And I very clearly remember it was that trip going like, okay, if this happens, this is the game changer. It's going to put us over the top with Dylan and Trey and those guys returning. And so 2 years has gone by fast. And I'm just super proud of him. I was able to text with him and text with his mom and his dad. And then, I got hounded by about 4 or 5 interviews about him on Wednesday and Thursday, in Pittsburgh, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they're super jacked about that deal, Had a bunch of them who I don't even know. I've only seen them in like forums like this, sending me pictures, full stadium. And I haven't heard many people. I haven't heard about the Pirates this much since Barry Bonds was playing for them. So
exactly, right? And that's I think the most exciting thing, right? They haven't had a pitcher like this to be able to sell out a stadium, to be able to have this much juice behind him for one team in a long time. I think it's a great thing for Major League Baseball. They have a guy that they don't have to force down people's throats. He's just that guy. He's dominating. He has an imposing presence. He's a great dude. He does everything the right way, and he's really good on the mound. I think this just promotes itself. Major League Baseball is in a really cool spot to be able to have that guy as one of their faces. So we were pumped. I know you were pumped. I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Where did the splinter come from? Was he hiding that last year?
Boy, what a pitch.
Yeah,
kept that
I
in the
think
back
we're
pocket.
okay with the arsenal that was displayed at LSU last year. At least I am, Lloyd. You need to check yourself if you're not. So.
I was good with it. I thought I was going to see it at Wake Forest.
Yeah, kind of a cool thing about that game, his game on Saturday, though, like Connor Joe, the first baseman for the Pirates, he played for me at University of San Diego. And then the first hit he gave up was Miles Mastroboni, who's the player I signed at Nevada, like right before I left to go to Arizona. So that was kind of a cool day, and super proud of Paul. And, man, I just can't wait to watch that whole deal unfold as he, was a 20-game winner, wins Cy Youngs, they go to the World Series, and he's one of a kind and super proud of him.
Absolutely. I think we all are. All LSU Nation is as well. Coach, appreciate your time. Enjoy this weekend. So it's the last home weekend of the season. Fans go out and support the Tigers. It's senior night, obviously, or senior day this weekend. Good luck. We'll be watching. We'll be there. And we'll see you in Hoover and then the postseason baseball and in Omaha and all those good places that everybody likes to go visit.
Back in Alex Box when it's all over.
That's it, Coach. We appreciate it. Enjoy your night. Stay out the weather.
All right, guys.
It's bad weather.
See you.
Bye.
All right. Take care, guys. See you.
That was good. Good questions, Jay.
You got a good question.
That was a great question.
Usually goes to reserve for me.
Here's the deal. The thought processes of why a coach and why a manager does something, sometimes they will take that as a challenging question. Like, oh, you're challenging me as a manager.
It does come off that way when
Right.
it comes from I'm just being like I don't mean anything derogatory by it, but like when you don't have the experience in it, and I'm not saying Jay, but a lot of coaches, a lot of people that do have the experience in it are saying, well, who the hell are you to ask me
Right.
that? And when you have someone that has the experience in it, that that
And
they
understands a
knows the
baseball
game as
question.
well.
Yep.
And look, you could literally know the game just as well as him, but if they don't know your background and that you know the game, sometimes it comes off of like, why are you?
Who the hell
asking
are
me
you
about
asking
this?
me?
It's
Yeah.
like asking a doctor, why did you do this? Where like if the nurse asks, who's always in the operating room with him, he'll give a different answer.
Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those situations.
And look, some of these coaches are not open to answering it, right? Very honestly, very detailed like he did. And so I think that's really cool insight. That was a really cool question. I enjoyed listening to it. A lot of the things that we had talked about, what we thought was the process, right? And that was kind of that's what he was going through mentally. But like you said, there's more avenues than one for LSU to make a postseason run or get into the postseason. The easy option is sweep this weekend, win a game in Hoover, and make it, right? If they end up winning the series, there's still an opportunity for them to make the postseason. It's just gonna be a little more difficult, and they gotta probably have a pretty good showing in the SC tournament. But look, they play good baseball. He seems like he's in a good headspace. Seems like the team's in a good headspace. So we'll see what happens this weekend. We've gone to extra innings. It's 8:06. We have people waiting to do some cool things for us here at the studio, so I don't want to keep people waiting any longer. Hopefully we talked long enough for the weather to go down. We appreciate you tuning in to our show. Please tune in again on Wednesday. We're live from 6 to 8 p.m. here in studio. We will be previewing the weekend series a little bit more in depth. We'll have some guests on. We'll talk about all the other sports that are going on as well. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't like watching us or anywhere you get your pods. And like I said, we appreciate the love of sport. We'll be back on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. Stay out of the weather. We love you. Peace.
Sweet.